Still muted. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to need another one. I am, because bottle disappeared. Screen bottle. Yingling. Oh, we're going to try this again. You know, I said to myself, John, update your PC, do a reset before you go live, because you're probably going to have issues. And guess what? I had issues. A lot of issues. So everything should be good now. We can talk about Nico delay. Maybe Tommy was watching the stream and was getting a bad vibe and decided I got to send some, you know, some shit through the internet and knock him out so he can't talk about it. I know. What's up, Bomb Blast? What's up, Jacob Livingston? We're going to have a couple guests on. I just wanted to get the intro out of the way. Original Next Level Gaming, he's backstage. Geeks with Cash is backstage. So, okay. I'm just going to go ahead and bring these guys on now. They've been waiting. Oh, dude, I'm sorry.
Yeah, are you all right, man? We need to get you some therapy.
Oh my god!
I'm telling you,
or at least some more booze.
Yeah, you know what? You're on to something there. You know what
Dude,
it is?
I need a drink watching you troubleshoot the stream.
It's been this zero carb thing that I'm on for like the last few weeks, man. It's like fucks with my head. It's gotta be.
That's why I can't do it.
I do good during the day, but it's like total brain fog. It's like you just forget shit. It's so weird, man.
See, I can't. Yeah, but, you're not selling me on the low carb thing, man. You're not selling me on it.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not doing. Yeah, well, you know what? You're doing okay with it. What's up, Down Phoenix? You know, we've got a lot of videos that came out today. So my thing was like, do I want to make a video? Do I want to go live? And I figured a live would be the best thing for this. You know, given the circumstances, you know, the delay. I think for me. I kind of knew it was happening. I didn't know as to what extent. I didn't know what kind of, you know, would there be a soft launch? Would there be, you know, just founders or part of founders? Like, I didn't know. So we got this email from Intellivision last night, if you're on the email list, saying, hey, it's been delayed. They did not give a date. And they pretty much said, we're going to work on getting pre-orders out this year. My thing with this, before I got rudely interrupted by my terrible PC before my last stream was, you know, it seems to be this part shortage. And, you know, I get that. It's literally in every industry right now. We're starting to feel it in my industry. We're dealing with some raw ingredients right now that are 10 times the cost of what they normally are. So, you know, and I'm in the nutrition industry, supplement industry. So like every industry is feeling it. I get it. However, they knew there was a part shortage in April and they gave themselves to October. I don't see how you don't at least get founders out. People who've been backing this for 2 years. I don't know why you don't at least focus on getting that out.
I agree. I have some thoughts, but I mean, Nick's thoughts are probably more coherent than mine at the moment. So,
well, I'm glad you're on, Mike, because I'm glad you're on, Mike, because I think you and I were kind of the two guys on Amico After Dark, Amico All Access, that were kind of like, October's got to be it. Like, to some degree, October has to be it, or you start losing consumer confidence. I don't want to backtrack on that. I'm a guy of my word. I don't want to backtrack on that. Even though I've played it, I believe in it. Listen, I'm still an Amico fan. Like, I can't wait for this thing to come out. I can wait. Like, I get it. I can wait. You know, I got other shit to play. I just bought Chasm on Steam. That was like the highlight of my day after all the work I put in. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, Chasm's still on sale. So I bought that. You know, like, there's other shit for me to play. I'm still a fan. I'm still going to be there when it comes. But not everybody feels that way. And I think it's time that we acknowledge that the people who are starting to feel burned have a legitimate complaint at this point.
All right, Nick, I want you to go first. Seriously.
Oh, no, they definitely got legitimate complaints. I mean, people have more than good cause to complain at this point. This is effectively the third delay. I mean, there was the first delay, and then it popped into April, and now it's into October, and now October looks like it's going to be delayed. For me, I'm cool with the delay. I mean, when it comes out, I'll play it, I'll enjoy it. But I completely get where you guys are coming from. They need to have a product out. It needs to get into some consumers' hands. If nothing else, a small batch needs to try to make it out this year. And that's to kind of keep excitement and hype going. And the reason for that is the more people there that are playing it, that are making content on actively playing it, the more people that are buying the games, that gives them something in the way of revenue. I feel like at this point they need revenue. You can't keep going back to the investor well in good faith when you can't make any of these dates, right? How many people are going to want to continue to invest? And how much revenue can you continue to give people to float them as they're working on games for your console that they can't sell yet, right? I mean, they've got developers that aren't in television. They got external developers that are working on things. They need to get some of their money back for the time that they've invested in developing this application. So, I mean, I get the frustration from all around. My concern is more for the company, right? It's more for the employees. I feel bad for these guys because, I mean, they put their entire livelihood into this company. It needs to work. I want to see it work for them.
Yeah.
And see, that's the thing is that, and what I don't understand is, the founders were always supposed to get the console first, even if it was by, 10 days, what have you. And the founders, most of the people that are in the founders are those of us who are out here, pushing the console. Like everybody else, of course I can wait. I'm not going anywhere. But I'm not happy. And I'm not backing off either, John. I thoroughly believe that something has to get out there in October. And what I don't understand, and someone smarter than me in economics is going to have to explain this to me. We all know that it was no secret to them that there was a part shortage and that the console might cost more to make. Tommy has said, and he said it publicly, and I think so did Nick at one point when he was with us, Nick from Intellivision, is that the console, they can get parts in small quantities, but it would cost exponentially more. Okay, so if that's the case, and that, then why didn't you, when you got this $12 million investment punch during the late, I think it was late spring, early summer, why didn't you put that $1 million, $1.5 million you think you need to launch to the Founders? Everybody else has got to wait. I understand that, but there are people that bought in at the very beginning. They deserve their system, and you could put that money aside when you had it and allocate it, and now they don't have it, because if they had it, they would be doing it. And
they'd be going to
and to Nick's point about the health of the company, how do you go back to investor? I'm just being straight up. I'm sorry, Daniel. I know you're in the chat, and I know Tommy might be listening to this later, but coming from someone who is invested a lot of time himself in this, how do you go back to investors with a product you don't have yet? I mean, you can't go to the investors and go, guys, we can't launch with all the money you've already given us. We need more. How do you convince investors that that's going to work?
Now, and again, I don't know what those investment talks looked like, sounded like months ago, If they included, hey, we're going to use this money for a launch. Now it can't launch. is there an issue, right? So like I totally agree. I'm like, okay, yeah, you clearly don't have the proper funding to go to launch. So what's the next step? Do you ask for more money? And now what my biggest thing is like PR. How does that look? Like regardless of how confident Tommy is and the team at Intellivision is, and you know, the other people that are going to play the console, they don't know we exist yet. Like I get that, but at this point, like think of the amount, like this company and this console has a backing of it's becoming niche market right now. You have to launch off the backs of a niche market. Like you have to. And how long are those people going to stay on board with delay after delay after delay?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm going to bring Relic Gamer on here. Relic Gamer is backstage. I'm going to bring him in. What's up, OEDP? Hey, yeah, of course we're talking to Miko, man. Miko talk without me.
Well,
I know, man. I'm
sorry.
Too,
and I've said this, and I still stand by this, is that what do retailers think? Because whether or not retailers really tell you, or if you openly say, oh yeah, retailers are fine, they understand, retailers are buying product based upon their pre-orders. GameStop is looking for that revenue too, based upon their customers. And how, I've said before, how many times do you delay and delay and delay before retailers go, I don't know if I want to carry your product?
I don't think that's going to matter right now, because if you go down to like Walmart or any other place, the first thing you notice is all these consoles are like empty.
Yeah.
So they're kind of at that point where they're kind of like, well, it's kind of normal right now. If this was any other time, yeah, definitely.
But those consoles at least are getting restocked.
Right, but that's one of the things you guys remember when I had when we had, I think it was Phil Adam on, we asked how retailers would feel about another delay. And he pretty much said, like, it just comes down to, if there is a delay, when would the next time frame be? Because they're very understanding of the whole, current situation with part shortages and everywhere else. So
I think
I'm not too worried about retailers.
The retailers are going to understand more than the backers are going to understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree.
I mean, I would still be tempted to invest, but personally, for me, it's from a standpoint is I've come to know some of these guys. I like these guys. I want to see them get the product out, and if I can throw them a little bit of money that's going to help keep them afloat, even with my own little meager means, then it's something I wouldn't mind taking the risk on. You know what I mean? But I come from a perspective of seeing that as more the minority than, the resounding voice at this point, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Someone put it. Where was it on here? No smart investor will invest at this point. Well, I mean, I don't know.
I don't know about that.
I don't know what goes on in those talks. I mean, would I invest? No, I wouldn't invest. But what the fuck do I know?
Yeah, not,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, well, and I think it's for the four of us especially. It's more. It's harder for me to understand it because we've played it now, because we've touched it. We've seen it in action. I've seen people say, well, the UI is not ready. Well, see, I told you the system's not ready. The system is ready. And that's what gets me, is that John Alvarado literally said on our show last week or 2 weeks ago when he was here on Amico After Dark, yeah, the system's ready. The people saying, oh, Cornhole's not ready because they had to rework. No, they didn't have to rework it. They literally said, John again said here, we wanted to because we have the extra time, and somebody looked at it and said, hey, is this something else is there something we can do? And so we put together a simulation. If they didn't have enough time to do that, they would have launched it with the control scheme they had. Yeah. They could launch that console today with the UI that Tommy showed us at your house, and people would be perfectly fine with it.
I agree
So
with
I
that.
don't buy into any of the it's not done. I just and I don't discount the parts thing. I mean, smartphone manufacturers are now getting hit because all the things they stockpiled when they saw this coming, which is another thing that maybe they should have done. Maybe they should have started stockpiling parts while they could. But now even smartphone manufacturers are getting hit with the parts shortage. So and the chip shortage. So
let me just say,
understand that.
Let me just say something. Okay, I work in construction and I work on these big projects, and I know in a small community, but they're multi-million-dollar type jobs, like big mansion type homes and stuff. And the contract electrician there, I've said it in the comments before, but literally last week I see him and I come up to him and his name's Jeff, and I said, Jeff, question, are you having problems getting any of the parts you need to finish these jobs? And he says, yeah, actually I am. He says, and especially things that have chips in them, like different devices that they use that are like a smart type of device. A lot of these high-end homes want nowadays. He says it could be months out before they even see anything. So in that industry, they're having a problem. Now, about 5 months ago, I bought a slightly used, this probably has about 16,000 miles on it. It's a Kia Telluride. I'm on a club in Facebook, and people are always posting that they're showing the sticker prices, and they're anything from $10,000 to $15,000 to $20,000 markups on these cars because the dealerships can't stock them, and they know that they can sell them for more because people are willing to pay for them. They're going a month. They're even going a whole other state away to find these vehicles. So, and it's the same exact thing. They're not getting enough the parts to manufacture the vehicles. They're doing it, but like one person said they were trying to pre-order a car and they were shut down. They said, no, they're not taking any pre-orders. So it's basically whatever they manufacture, they bring out, it's there. When I bought my vehicle, when I first went to the dealership, there was only two of those cars on the lot. And one was like $60,000 and the other one was about $45,000. And I got a used one that was kind of in the middle. And it was just happened that they had one up at another dealership. But they said, yeah, you're probably going to want to buy, if you want one, you need to buy it now. He says, because I can guarantee you within about 4 days, we'll have all these two models gone. So people got to start realizing that it's widespread. It's everywhere. And it's probably not going to get better. Not for over another year.
But here's my thing, right? And this goes to your thing, Ben. Chip shortages for everything. We can wait. Yes, we can wait. And the problem is the problem is can in television wait? That's the problem. Yeah. So like they didn't have the money to go to launch, which means it sounds like they may need it. I don't know. Do they need another round of funding now to go to launch? What happens if that funding doesn't come through? Do they go under and we never see an Amico? Like that's the thing. Yes, part shortages are a thing. Nobody disputes that. Anybody with like a reasonable mind disputes it. That's not a thing. The problem is can television survive it? And I think we're gonna find out.
That's a real thing.
And I don't think it's just parts either. I mean, like when you go into a store like Target or Walmart or anything like that right now, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that's just not on the shelf that's normally on the shelf.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like people are starting to stock up again like they were pre-pandemic because with this stupid, for the risk of getting the string tagged for whatever misinformation, the Delta variant thing is out there and people are freaking out. Hell, California is about to go into another freaking lockdown if they haven't already.
Yeah.
As a result of that, and people are starting to lose their minds again. Even vaccinated wearing masks are catching this new freaking variant. So I mean, what the hell do you do right now? Right? It's just a really sucky time to try to do this, but some way, somehow, he's got to find a way to keep this company afloat until they can get it done. Right?
And that's a big part of the problem.
People don't launch new game consoles, man. It's tough to do without a pandemic and part shortages.
Yeah.
I said it on Twitter. I really
Daniel C just said there's no water in his Walmart. near his house.
Yeah.
Like it's just
Oh, jeez. But he's like in Utah, isn't he? How's that a thing?
yeah,
Just
he's
go-
in
just
Utah.
Go climb the mountain and scoop some snow off the top of the mountain, Dan, and just put that shit on
Yeah.
the stove. You got water, no problem.
So, you know,
But my
there's
thing
a-
is, like I said on Twitter. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I mean, there's a couple of things here that also though work against them from a perception standpoint. One of which is it's all well and good they're having these shortages and stuff, but you have everyone else that's putting out a system of some sort launching around them. And Pete was kind of saying at the same time I was thinking of it. The Playdate's coming. The VCS is out. The Polymega that they ghosted their customers for months, and they're coming out in
Yeah.
September. We thought that company went under
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
Walmart and their credit and all that, and they're launching in September. So I mean, you've got everyone else around them figuring out how to launch their systems in this global pandemic. And I get it. They're the only ones that have that type of controller they've got, but they're the only ones not launching right now
It's
with
still
everybody
part
else.
of
You gotta
our
take that
logistical
into
chain,
consideration.
basically.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
still have to figure out the logistics of being able to get the components you need.
Sure.
That's a pivotal component, and you need 2 of them per console because you're giving people 2 controllers. So, I mean, if nothing else, 2,600 units times 2, you need what, 5,200 of these things in order to launch minimum, just to get the founders out. That minimum, because I think that's the last number I heard on how many founders there were.
There were 2,600 is what they made
Yeah.
because that was the
But
Atari 2600 reference.
the delays are not good for anybody. Man.
I don't care about that at all. I have
Me-
no
me-
I have
yeah.
no interest. I have no interest in thinking about how that affects the haters. What I have
Yeah.
that is
Well, you could get your $100
you know,
back too,
but we do
Freddie.
have
It's
to
not
take
really an
into
investment if you
consideration-
can get it back.
But you have to take in consideration that when you take all these devices, even the Playdate, or you take a Playdate, it has a pretty much an inferior screen. The technology they're using in that device, you look at the CPU and it's very simple. It's probably, I don't know, it could possibly even be off shelf, something that nobody's even using right now. But then take in consideration also
leave that
that-
question up, by the way.
the VS,
This one?
the Versus.
Yeah, leave that up.
The Evercade
Yeah,
Versus, it's not trying to launch with like its own titles of games at the same time having this 2 controllers that have chips in each one of those and the screens. So I mean that compounds the issue a lot more. I think people, I mean, yeah, I get it that these other devices are going to come out if they do come out on time. I mean, I've got an Analog Pocket on pre-order.
That thing's
But
been
again-
delayed a few times, hasn't it?
It's been delayed
Quite a
at least
few, actually.
once back in. It was supposed to come out in May, and it's supposed to come out in October. I think the Versus is the only thing I haven't heard that's been delayed. I know the Playdate's been delayed. They had talked about that a while back that it was supposed to be out, and
I missed the pre-order on that. I was kind of on the fence, and then I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll just go ahead, and it's gone. Never mind.
yeah,
Well, Sony
You're not missing much.
delayed all their games. Sony
Yeah,
delayed all their
yeah.
quality games.
Yeah.
So
Don't
I-
remind me.
okay.
Thank you, by the way.
Yeah, sorry. So, well, you can always get a Series X. Anyway,
No, I
Look.
can't. I can't.
oh,
I
that's
can't
true.
find
You
those
can't
either.
get a Series X, right? You can't get those either.
Yeah,
So-
if I could find a Series X at a reasonable retail price, I'd probably pick one up just to have
Right.
Game Pass on another platform. But
Okay,
can't
so
find those
Anthony,
either.
Anthony, I get that you're thinking you're asking this as a serious question and not a hater question at all. But people need to stop with these questions. People need to stop with this, and the
Anthony's a good dude. He's in. He's in my
I
stream, so don't
understand.
put
I
too hard on him.
understand that. Understand that. But we're gonna discuss this. The fact is that the reason that we are sitting here doing this right now is because we do like the system enough to care about what's happening with it. All right. The fact is, there's no the red flag would be that Tommy comes out and said, "I'm sorry, guys, we couldn't make it. Couldn't make it.
I
Goodbye,
would like
Days
to know what
Gaming. Bye,
the
Days
flag
Gaming.
are,
Yeah.
Get out. But have fun. Get
What
out."
constitutes a red flag?
Exactly. Here's the thing. We've put our hands on it. All right. We've played it. So the fact that we've played it is why we pump it up. All right. That's the thing. The delays happen everywhere. We get that. We're upset because we care about it, because we've played it. We've touched it. My son has put his hands on this thing and enjoyed it and wants it. So I'm going to continue to
that's
pump it
that's
up
the
as
thing,
long
like-
as the thing is coming, as long as it's got a shot at coming out
Exactly.
and getting in my house, I'm going to continue to talk about it in a positive way, because despite what's going on, which I'm not happy about, I'm not. But despite what's going on, that doesn't change the system itself. That doesn't change what I like about the Amico itself.
Correct.
And that's why I'm going to continue
Correct.
to pump it up.
I don't even
As
consider
long
this
as it-
pumping up the system.
No,
I mean,
it's-
at this point,
Well,
basically, we're doing like news updates
I know what he means.
on the progress
Yeah.
of the system, right? And talking about like kind of realistically, we're talking about the reality of the situation. I mean, we've got another delay in our hands. Now, I've got $100 invested in this and like a founders. And for me, $100 is not a game breaker. I've invested that money hoping I'm going to get a console. I understand there's a chance, there's a risk.
So
the console may not come out and I may lose
Yeah.
$100. That doesn't break my bank,
Yeah.
dude. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's $100 that I could
Yeah,
get back.
if
I
$100
decide
breaks
to-
my bank, I probably shouldn't be pre-ordering video games.
I shouldn't have put the money down in the first place. Exactly.
Right.
It was
So-
the same
so-
way with the Evercade Versus. I went ahead and dropped all the money on that.
Yeah.
All of it. Not even pre-order. The whole thing had to be bought. Like when I put my money down on that.
And
And I did that hedging a bet that I'm going to play that on a system that basically runs licensed emulated carts. I'm okay with that. I could afford the money. So I spent the money on it because it's something I want to play with. It's my choice to spend my money how I want to spend my money,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
I've met some of these people from Intellivision. I consider these people friends, man. This isn't me pumping a system. This is me helping friends. And if you're not okay with that, then sorry. They're my
well,
friends.
That's the thing. Like pump it up. I talk about a console that I am excited for, just like I talk about other things on my channel that I'm excited for. I'm not going to stop talking. Like I'm not going to have this epiphany to where something happens, and this goes to your question, lowest ranking Shill, to all of a sudden, oh, Retro Bro's a hater now. You know what I mean? Like I don't like what could happen. Like I don't know. Like I'm not happy about a delay. Like I think they should have done everything they could to have got Founders and VIP out in October. Even if you have to take a major loss, listen. And I told Tommy this, so I'm not bullshitting anybody here. If you have to take a major loss on VIP and Founders, take the loss. If you can't afford to take that loss, then you got problems. That's the reality of it. Now, you do with that what you like. Like I don't know. Listen, I don't work for Intellivision, so I have no financial stake in the game. I have friends, I consider friends that work there. So like I would be heartbroken if they would lose their job or this thing never came to fruition. So I don't know. Maybe I look at it a little differently than some people. Relic, it's nice to have you back. Where'd you go?
All right. Something froze up on my end.
I thought I ran Relic off. I'm like, oh God, what happened?
I was kind of getting afraid because, Mike was kind of getting, hulking there.
I just those.
I mean,
kind
he
of
was
things,
starting to turn the color of his shirt for a little
Yeah,
bit. I mean, we all
those
saw
kind- I
it.
mean, look,
It was the shirt,
kind of
actually.
things, those kind of things. Just, I'm sorry, and no offense to anybody, but that stuff just annoys me. It annoys
Well, and I don't
me.
have anything against Anthony. I mean, it's a legit question to ask. I know it seemed antagonistic. It's a legit question, though.
Well, it's no no. The question is how long before we might want to not pre-order it. Not how many red flags do you need before you stop talking nice about it? That's not a legitimate question. I'm sorry. And if the Steam Deck got delayed, would I call that a red flag? No, because
No, absolutely
not in this. Not in this.
And-
Not in
and
this
hon-
market.
Okay, hold on,
honestly,
hold on.
it's Steam.
Does anybody in the chat think it's a huge red flag that they're in a damn Sony first-party game coming out this holiday because their 2 giant games got delayed? God of War, and now we're not even talking about part shortages. We're simply talking about Sony having to delay games till next year without even putting a date on them. So is that a big red flag? Should Sony just fold up tent and go home? Is the PS5 a failure? That's why these questions are not legitimate in my question. That's why. Now,
And
if you want to say,
to further expand on your question, they're redesigning the PS5 to try to get it back out to market. You can't find a Series X. I can find a Switch on the shelves. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to find the Switch OLED whenever it drops, because that's got a brand new screen. It's going to be even harder to manufacture. On top of that, if the Steam Deck gets delayed,
Rab, I wish you were on
going to be
this. Rab, I wish you
surprised.
were on here right now, dude. Rab, jump if you can jump on, because I'd love to talk to you about this.
I think you put the invite into the wrong channel for him to find it, dude. You might have to put it in a different location.
Oh, was he not in that one? Here,
don't think
I'll
so.
send it to you. He should be if he's not.
But I mean, the point is there's delays all around, right? You got
Right.
people trying to launch hardware, and if Steam can get their hardware out, that's great. I know for a long time they were having trouble manufacturing enough indexes to be able to get those in people's hands. So I'd imagine the Steam Deck's going to be just as bad, if not worse, because it's cheaper.
But I also
the
wanna-
index is like $1,000 to get your hands on one, and you got to have a PC that can run it effectively. So
And
that's even
Anthony,
more.
the chips, as far as I know, the processor isn't the issue. It's the screens on the controller. The screens
Right.
are what's holding them back.
And those screens are used on a lot
screens
of
are in
things, not
super
just
high demand.
the controller.
Yeah.
right,
And
So
that's
it's-
the problem, not the chips.
Yeah,
Right,
It's not
so
the
where-
actual like they can get the processor. Like that's from my understanding, that's not really the issue. And I think
no,
Tommy's
the
actually said
processor's
that.
easy, and to Tommy has been on here, John's been on here, Nick's been on here. All of them have said the same thing. They can get a smaller number of the screens, a smaller number. They can find a place that'll sell them much less quantity, but they're selling them at a much higher rate. And so that jacks up the cost of the manufacturing to a point to where they have to decide whether or not it's worth manufacturing. Now,
Wait, did anybody see Rab look like he was
Yeah.
hiding behind some chainsaws in a horror
Dude,
movie?
he
For a
was.
second.
He had someone tied up in his basement, dude. They were giving someone a beating. That's what was going on. This is not even a question. Rab, what are you doing down there, dude?
Sorry, guys.
got-
What did I
Are
do?
got
you in
some
your
guy-
murder basement? What's going on, Rab?
Yeah, free Rab. I'm in my in-laws' garage. Everyone's sleeping
Now you're
here.
like
It's kind of late.
sideways. This
You
is very
went to the
confusing.
garage.
Okay, there
Yeah.
we go.
There we go. Yeah, I
I'm
tried
like,
to turn my
I'm
Jason-
doing this to see Rab.
I tried to turn
the
my cam. I know
Jason
Mullis
Bateman.
is just going to be upset with me.
yeah, what else is new? What else is new, Rab? Come on.
You know it. You know it.
There's the originator.
There's the
There
man.
he is.
Dude, your thumbnail. First off, I went upstairs to go to bed at 1 a.m. and I'm like, oh, come on. He's already got a video out.
Oh, I was talking to Tommy the last couple days, talking through
And
this.
Yeah, what was it like? You
yeah.
release 7 minutes after it gets
Right.
released. He
no,
releases
I
a
released
minute
it
video.
before the email came in.
Oh
Tommy
no,
said-
did you?
Yeah, mine
we
was
were-
out at 9.
we were
Tommy
we were
hit 9:01.
we were streaming last night, my Peter and me, and our friend Jago was in the party with us, and he said, hey guys, I just got this email from Intellivision. And so we were like breaking news on our live stream as he was reading the email. And then we get done and I go to bed. I'm like, Pete's already got a video out.
Yeah, I think this is his debut on my channel, actually.
Yeah, it's first time
I
ever
think
on
it
the
is.
channel. I
Yeah.
never
And
get
the fun-
invites. I'm not even like I can't even get into his Discord. They banned me from everything.
What?
Yeah.
You should be in my. You can
So
join
Saggy,
my-
yes, the only
my
way
Retro
Saggy
Bro
can talk
Discord.
to me is come on my Discord. That's how I get my
I'll
fill.
send you an
Nah,
invite. Don't worry.
yeah. No. I just wanted to chop in and and check you out. You guys are getting pretty intense. I thought I'd come in, be like Patrick Swayze and be the cooler and get you guys all cooled down. But
Oh, my
if you show up behind me and we start like making some clay together or something, I'm gonna be.
I just
freaked
gotta
out.
put these pythons out.
Oh, no.
Oh Lord!
I just want to meet Retro Bro and just like I saw him in his house and I want to hug him and I want to have Retro Bro because he's so big.
Yeah, but I'm not.
Yeah, but he's not tall.
I know that's
You
what I
need him-
mean
you
because
need him in the
I'll look like a
Care Bear
monster. I'll look
for the
like a
full
flabby
effect, though.
monster.
I know.
right beside Retro Bro.
He makes fun of me because I'm simply 6'0".
You
I
guys,
mean,
you
I-
guys know what the gift is?
No.
No,
I
and
do.
honestly,
I
I
do.
haven't asked. I didn't ask.
Oh, okay. It's been a really tough time. I was talking to Tommy this week, and it's you gotta kind of take the YouTube hat off. I find when dealing with people that are in companies that are going through this. Like I've been in business for almost 30 years now, so I've been in independents, I've been in multinationals, I've been in corporations. I've seen every int of success and failure you can in electronics and in entertainment and in like I worked for GM Motors during the OnStar debacles and all that kind of stuff. So, seeing what they were going through this week, like I couldn't find a way to pile on. It's like, seeing them try to do their best to get this system out, to do it right, but not break the foundations of their company. Like being in a small, I was in a small company of 12 people. We went under, and we lost everything we invested in it. Like we lost everything, and we couldn't do anything. So I can only I can associate a little bit of what they're going through. We weren't at the scale, but that's why when I put my video out, everybody says Pete's a real downer. It's just no. It was just you take the personality because. I'm an upper sometimes. Like I'm always kind of happy-go-lucky guy anyway, but I just I didn't feel it was right to kind of get gung-ho about them delaying. It sucks. Like anybody who's invested,
I gotta be honest.
that's
I didn't get a
that's
chance
who
to
got
watch your video
legitimate
yet.
beef.
Yeah.
That's who's got legitimate beef with this and concerns is people who put in investment dollars. Anybody who's pre-ordered, in my opinion, you know what? Go get your money back. Because you know what, you can, and they'll give it to you right away. Yeah, if you've not pre-ordered this system, you know what, you're just white noise to me, because you're barking at the clouds. That's my opinion. I've maintained that from day one. And I'm like,
I think that's fair. I think that's totally
if
fair.
you haven't pre-ordered it, your voice doesn't matter to me. But
No,
it
that's
matters
totally
to
fair.
me because they're a potential customer. That's the only thing they don't matter to me. But it's tough, man. It's been tough. I talked to Tony. It's twice I called him Tony.
Talk to Tony all the time.
I talked to him. No, I really don't. But I talked to him a few times this week, and it was tough. And he actually told me what the gift was, and it just blew my mind. Now, blew my mind. I've got a small mind, so it's easy to blow. But but it really
there's a part of it. I didn't ask.
That's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't ask him because there's a part of me that kind of wants to be surprised by it. I don't like him. I don't like when he tells me everything, so I don't ask everything. There are some things that I do want to know about when everybody else knows, just to, not have that burden. Because I've carried a lot of stuff that people didn't know. Sometimes that even you guys didn't know until he announced it, and that's a heavy burden sometimes.
I just forget it. So I don't know how many stuff he's told me and other the Evercade folks have told me. I've completely forgot about it. Then I did a video and I'm halfway doing the video recording. I'm like, oh crap, why am I speculating on something I think I already knew? And I got to scrap the video. It's happened so many times. It's like, I'm getting old. But no, I
haven't really talked to Tommy this week outside of I think he hit me up before he did the announcement to kind of have me read through something. So I knew it was coming. And I'm like,
and
I read it, and I'm like, well, this sucks. I get it. It sucks, but I get it. Because he's in a hard spot, right? I mean, do you bring the console out and possibly tank the company bringing the console out? Or do you wait a little bit and hope things improve, right?
Yeah, I don't know if they
So how do you do it?
But, Retro Bro, I was really respecting what you and Mike were saying about, is this the last straw? How long? We can wait, obviously, but you can understand now people's opinion on being frustrated. me, I totally get it too. It's like I totally get anybody who's pre-ordered this to be legitimately upset, or an investor, because they have the right to. They actually put their money down. For me, it's different. I've gone through Polymega, man. They've put me through the
You are
rigors for
battle hardened.
3 years. Phoenix. Let's
Oh
not forget
man,
John Lester, the guy who helped design the Phoenix. A very, very popular and well-liked YouTuber.
Games
Collector
31.
Vision. I ordered that Phoenix on day one and never heard
what
peep
the
from
hell
them
is the
forever,
Phoenix?
and I finally got
The collector vision.
It's the FPGA ColecoVision. And I
Yeah.
finally got it two years after I pre-ordered it.
Oh wow, I never even
But
heard
it,
of that
like,
thing.
Yeah, it's amazing, by the way. It's a great system. I love it. But yeah, it's tough, man. I understand both sides. But boy, am I not going to pile on my channel. I've got lots to talk about. I'm going to be talking about some stuff tomorrow, most likely on the channel, about the football stuff they're talking about doing. So it's pretty cool. Sucks, though.
Well, I
mean,
look at it, I've been trying to approach this because, I was talking to me and Cyrus were talking one-on-one earlier today, and it's like, I'm so close to all of this. Sometimes I have a different perspective, right? So I'm trying to look at this from somebody who pre-ordered this thing 2 years ago, isn't plugged into Tommy, doesn't talk to Tommy, doesn't get updates. From their perspective, like, I get it. It's a fair argument. It sucks. I'm close to Tommy, and it sucks.
Yeah.
And
It
I'm
sucks
sort of,
twice because you suck as a customer and you suck because you're a friend of his.
Yeah,
And that's what you got to understand, right? So people expecting us to trash on them, I'm never going to do that.
No.
Like, unless
Yeah.
he devastates and does something crazy, like, does something illegal, I won't. He's got the benefit of the doubt with me.
yeah.
And you know what? For now.
I've become more skeptical in a sense of, will I see a console this year?
No, I don't think you will myself.
I don't think I will
Yeah.
either. I'm glad we're on the
And-
same
and
page
so-
there.
JB, no,
Yeah.
I don't think you'll see it retro. Bro.
And so that's one of the other issues is I know he wants to put the best face on, but he then should not have set an expectation that they're going to try to get pre-orders out this year.
And that's the thing. In that email, and somebody in the chat said it, in that email, it made it seem with the wording that they're going to be able to probably fulfill all of the pre-orders.
Right.
VIP, Founders, GameStop. That's how they kind of made it sound.
Well, here it is. I've got it up. In spite of these supply hurdles hampering our ability to fill all orders, we are focused and determined to deliver pre-ordered units by the end of the year. That didn't say Founders editions and VIPs. And there's people in the chat going, "What about my?"
I think
what
they
about
put a
my
date on it
GameStop?
without putting a date on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But end of the year is not far away. We are in August now. So September, October, November, December.
10th, end of the year would have been an extra 60 days would have taken you to the middle of December.
Yeah, that's the only thing I had a problem with the whole statement is like, gosh, don't ever put yourself into a corner. Unless they are confident. I don't know, right?
And
But
I
like,
think,
that could be we don't know. We just don't know.
Am I muted?
No,
you're not.
No, I can hear you.
I'm just talking over you, Rap. That's all.
No, we're kind of guilty, I think, of putting a lot of our projections on. I don't feel like this is going to happen this year. I don't feel it. I don't feel it. Tommy has not given any indication that they will get no units out this year. He's actually said the opposite. You will definitely see units this year. So it's
I think
on him
that's fair.
if
That's a good-
we
yeah,
don't
that's
see
fair.
any
That's
units
fair.
this year. And I think, yes, we should understand that, this company could spend a small fortune. They could spend 9, 10, 11 million dollars trying to get 20,000, 21,000, whatever that pre-order number is of the VIP and the Founders Editions unit. If they have to assemble them here in the US, then you're looking at labor shoots up intensely, the hours that you have to put it on, because you're not going to have the entire automated process that you have in China. So the costs is extremely high for that system. They are paying quite a lot of money per system to get 20,000 units out by the end of the year, 21,000, whatever that final number is. But if you just do the math on what the revenue is that they could take in from the $100 down payments that we have, that we can get a refund if we think this is not suitable, we don't want to wait again, that's fine. You can get your refund. But if you're looking at the cost that they may have to spend to build these, because you cannot get LCD screens custom made, you cannot get on a line to have those made right now. That is one of the major difficulties, is you don't have bulk controller screens for the Amico. It has to be custom made to spec. There is no warehouse out there that has surplus LCD screens that you can get. And if there were, other companies are buying those because they need the parts. They need to be able to make that. The components that go into making that screen are not there. So if they can even get online, they would just get bumped out of line because congressmen, ministers from the EU nations are going to bat for these large companies where tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of employees' jobs are on the line. If Apple's revenue is going to dip because they can't get out, 5 million more iPads because they were bumped and they can't meet their revenue, and that's going to be a loss. That's a big deal for some congressmen who are going to be going to bat and saying, look, we need to push them in front of on these lines. So they're facing, I think, a lot of hurdles, and Intellivision's aware of this, and in spite of all of that, Tommy is still saying, yes, we can get some units out. He's been on After Dark saying that they'll bring units out.
You bring up a good point. You talk so much common sense. Retro, I got to run because I got to get back.
Yeah,
to
man. Thanks for jumping.
Because I work evenings, but I want to
appreciate
say one thing I've been saying since the summer, and say what you want about the VCS. I think their approach is what Amico should do this year. Is the VCS last year got their backers out, their 7,000 units, and their company's nothing like Intellivision to handle their launch because they have nothing right now. But if Amico can get their founders out, their VIPs out, and some pre-orders out this year, set the table set up for next year in June and do a full launch, I think they could still set themselves up for a lot of success.
I agree.
Because I think if they do that, they will get the goodwill, because VCS did get some goodwill out of it, got me to buy the system last winter, and I've been having fun with it. It's just their company is like, they got different problems, but that's all I wanted to say. It's like, I agree, Rab, with everything you're saying. You talk a lot of common sense. I don't know where you're at tonight. It looks like
I'm locked away,
tiles.
more distracted. Get the word out. Free Rab.
Anyway, thanks for having me
Free
on.
Rab.
Hey,
Thanks for
Pete,
coming on, Pete.
when does Amico All Access come back?
I'm doing a special one tomorrow morning. Because a lot of the fans on my channel want to come and chat and talk about the delay, and I want to talk about the football news on the Amico football stuff going on. So I want to get back to talking about what I started the whole thing about Amico, was waiting for it to come out and talking about the cool shit I'm going to play on it. Pardon my language.
Cool that.
Oh no, you can
Well,
curse.
I'm allowed
here.
to say
It's
that.
That language is
Yeah,
cool.
you're allowed
Yeah,
to
you're
say
good.
it.
Yeah, you're in the
You can
right. You're in
swear.
the right
There's
channel.
You're
no
right
curse
spot.
in Canada.
No cursing. You
So you
can't.
guys heard it here.
Note to self,
OEP
edit
Pete
that
does
Twitch
swear.
But yeah, Amico All Access will be on tomorrow. There'll be a few
Perfect.
people
Make
on
sure you guys
tomorrow.
go sub to OEP Pete. Check out that. That's a great
you
show.
don't
he
need
does
to.
over there.
No.
You can bring the kids
trying
over
to.
there
Yeah.
too.
I'm trying to avoid it in 3,000 subs because I don't want to give away my controller. I like it so much. Anyway, good
Forgot
night,
about
guys.
that.
Have fun. And
Good night,
remember,
everyone.
it's just a video game. Think about the people making it, because they all have families, loved ones, cats, dogs, and kids. And I don't think they deserve any of the hate that they're getting, to be honest with you. Anyway,
Yeah.
good night, folks.
No, they never deserved
Thanks.
that.
Later, bro.
They haven't
Oh.
deserved. They haven't deserved that for the 3 years they've been getting it.
You guys
Exactly.
Bye,
want
everybody.
you guys want a historic analogy for this? I don't know if you do, but I've got one for you. We're in a pandemic. We haven't seen something like this since Spanish flu of like 1918. Correct? I mean, this is
Yes, and I remember the
unseen
console
time.
that came out then.
Yes, yeah. You remember the console? Yeah.
Yes.
The Magnavox. Oof.
Their survival rate was a little lower, if I remember right, though.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is like imagine like Intellivision, if Intellivision were like launching a cruise liner or something right before the start of World War I, and something that they couldn't expect, that you don't expect. You've never had a World War before. You've never had something of that scale happens. Okay, well, now you're going to be on delays because people aren't taking cruise across the ocean because you're at war and you're kind of stopping that. So they go, okay, at that point, okay, we're at war, but everyone thinks we're going to be home by Christmas. So that's kind of the thinking at the time. So they put out like, okay, we're not going to be able to launch this year, but after this, we're going to be able to launch. So they kind of go next year. The next year, the war's still going on. Now they're having to meet the new the new standard isn't just that the war is going on, but now there's like, submarine technology is brand new and it's sinking everything. And the next year that they want to launch, you have like these convoys, and you don't get to be a cruise liner. You get mandated to be, part of a convoy taking parts across the transatlantic. It's just like the timing of something like this is extraordinary. There's never in our lifetimes, in our parents' lifetimes, in our grandparents' lifetimes been something where, everything has been knocked off keel production-wise and worldwide. When Tommy initially announced that they were not going to meet their time frame, it was in July of 2020. We were at just, outside of New York and a couple of cities outside of Italy. Very few people have really experienced COVID, so we didn't know what it would look like. So I could see, okay, we're not going to make October, but we think by April that seems reasonable. Unfortunately for him, he didn't realize exactly how devastating COVID is going to be back in July when they make that, we're going to miss this, and they get on with their investors, they get on with their retailers, and they have that special event August 5th where they announce to all of us that they're not going to make October. But they do have a new launch date of April 2021, which seems reasonable at the time. Now, what they don't know is that there's going to be a massive chip shortage, that you're not going to be able to make LCD screens. They don't know that in January, February, when they're making that decision again with their retail partners, when they're making that decision again with their investors. So they say, okay, we look and say, let's go back to that October 2020 date and let's move it to 2021. Now, I think they made a critical error by putting those dates on, but I understand why they made the error of putting those dates on, because we're talking about the Coleco Chameleon. We're talking about the Phantom. We're talking about these systems that never launched. Oh, the Amico is going to be the Coleco Chameleon of systems. It's just
anyone who says that doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Exactly.
You can't even compare the Chameleon.
But you
the
understand.
Chameleon had a capture card in a blank case.
You understand why they don't leave it with an open-ended date, because that leaves open a lot of criticism in our retro gaming community to say, this is never going to come out. You just want to milk people for their money. So you understand why they hit the date. They just get hit by these massive. The part shortage was something you don't see coming back in February. Actually, they kind of saw it coming. They tried to secure the parts. They just get bumped by the bigger players. If Samsung and Apple and these larger agents, these larger organizations that have the money and can pay 5-6 times for screen parts for LCD technology to make their screens, Intellivision is a minnow. And it's a feeding frenzy. So they just get bumped. And yes, you can criticize them. This is the third delay. But by saying, yeah, it's the third delay, that's the last straw, that's the final straw for me, are you just going to ignore, COVID? Are you just going to ignore an unprecedented part shortage we haven't seen since, the late 80s, when there was only, very few consoles like this coming out?
The only console you really got out in the market right now is the Switch.
Yeah.
It's
but
like
the
consoles on the market.
But you know what? Consumers still have a right to be upset when they've been backing something for 2 years. Like, I'm not gonna,
they
invalidate their feelings because they've been backing it for 2 years. I mean, they have a legitimate concern. Like I said, beginning of the show, Intellivision knew about these part shortages, so they should have done what they could have done. And Mike said it himself with the Republic CO. Use that money and get the founders out in October. I don't know why they couldn't have done that.
That's all and I get that they can't fulfill the VIPs and the founders, but the founders are the ones that they need to,
are the first priority.
They are.
You've got a finite number.
Exactly. And I was doing the just the quick and dirty math. The revenue they would make on the founders.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
520,000.
No, 777,000 because they're $299.
Yes.
So $299 by 20, and that's just rough. That's not. So you've got, I know what Tommy has said. Well, it might cost us $1 million to $1.5 million to produce the system. Okay, so you've got the revenue coming back from that would put you at a loss of between $250 to $500
per unit. So
correct.
Here's the other thing that you guys haven't addressed that comes into factor in this whole thing. Can they even get manufacturing on the line? And I know you can say, well, just make them there at the Amico office. No.
No, I
absolutely do
Yeah,
not do
he
that.
said-
no,
said-
you
You
can't.
don't want to assemble
yeah.
these things by
No.
hand for the ones
No,
that
no,
are
no.
going to customer. You're going to
They
have a
could
much higher
assemble
rate
them
of
in
failure doing
Texas or-
that than if you put them through a manufacturing line.
Yep.
You
What was it?
need time on a manufacturing line to get these things. And if you can't spend the money to get on the manufacturing line in the first place, or you can't even get time, then you can't get the units assembled.
And on a
right?
mass scale, you have defects. You don't
Right.
want that.
Yes, right. And if you're on a different line, then you don't have the same guarantees that you had on the line that you had. Real quick.
Can't they go to
yes,
North Carolina though, or Texas or something? They have them manufactured. Didn't they say that was a?
They
or
talked about
assembled
Mexico,
or
too.
whatever?
They talked about Mexico.
Yeah.
I'd heard that. That was going to be like one of their backup plans, I think.
No.
I
That
don't
still
know if
might
that's still
cost
on the
you-
table or not.
125 for labor. I mean, with the hours.
I get
that you
it.
would
Well,
need-
here's the thing, Rab. Though, if they keep chasing this, we have to get our costs down. It's never going to come out because this chip shortages isn't going away, and these components they're trying to get. I'm telling you, they're not going to get cheaper within the next 10 months. It's not going to fucking happen because you look at what's going on in Europe, the Delta variant, the US, they're trying to shut shit down again for whatever fucking bullshit reason. Midterm variant, call whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's all bullshit, anyways. But fucking this shit is not going away. So if you're chasing the fucking bottom line here, this thing's never going to come out.
Right. And
Because they're not going to get fucking cheaper, Tommy. Look, Tommy, if you're listening, I don't think they're going to get cheaper. Get the founders editions out.
So
Go
here's
from
the
there.
thing too. I wanna. So and Christian said the same thing. Yes, I know that they've already the $100, but because it's refundable, they're not. I think they're
That's
sitting
probably
on that.
that's
but
probably
my-
going into some sort of escrow account. They're
my-
probably not even doing anything with that money.
My point, my overall point was we're paying $299 for the system. When all is said and done, we are putting in $299 for the system. So the overall revenue they get per system times 2,600 is $777,000. That's what I'm saying. I know they've already got my $100, but they can't. They can't take my $100 and use it to pay salaries and stuff. That would not be good, because then if they get to a point to where something does happen, and heaven forbid, and nobody wants this to happen, that Intellivision has to fold because they can't get the console out, they have to give that money back to the folks. So I get all that.
Yeah, Vito, that screen. I don't think they're using a cheap screen because it's the same type of screen that goes into a lot of cell phones.
Yeah, it's not a cheap.
It's not one of those
a
cheap LCD handheld screens. It's not even
Anthony
remotely.
made two good points. One is about your pre-workout. And I got a bone to pick with you on your pre-workout. It made me feel like I had like unlimited power, and now I'm paying for it. And I blame you.
unlimited
It's your fault. Your fault. And the second one is he's right. It's not going to get any cheaper. 50 employees sucking money out of the company because you got to pay your employees. So people got to eat. You got to get something out. You got to start getting some revenue in. So you need something out so you can put the physical media out. So even people that don't have the console, that see people playing the console, can start picking up the physical media. That gets them income. The people who have the console in their hand can buy things digitally as well. They might buy digital, they might buy physical as well, because depending on what appeals to in the physical, and you might have a physical copy as well as a digital copy, so that you get like all the fun stuff and you have something fun on your shelf, right?
Yeah.
So
people buying
that gets
extra
them
controllers.
revenue, and they need revenue.
They've got $50 gift cards for every one of those 2,600 VIPs. They are
I
not
don't
going to be
intend
getting
on using that.
Okay,
for a
but
long time.
I think
I can't say that for everybody, but I have no intention of using that for a while.
Yeah, I think the revenue.
I'm saving that shit for Earthworm Jim.
I think the revenue from the VIPs. I mean, if they sell every physical edition, every physical copy, if Christian Martin goes out and buys all 50,000 of them, I think it's only $1 million in revenue. So yes, they can get some revenue from this. It's one little hurdle to pass, but they've got a ton to do. I mean, these are challenging times. And I saw someone like these like $4 screens. They're much more than $4 screens, but let's give that to you. Let's say they're $4 screens. One of the problems right now is that a $1 chip that is the driver in those screens is impossible to get. And that is holding up everything in about 600 different manufacturing industries around the world. That little driver that is used, that you use to like swipe your card for like a point of sale at a restaurant. Restaurants can't get their point of sale equipment when they're like reopening. So they're having to, go back to kind of a cash-based system, or, they don't have the resources to make all of these things that use a touchscreen, because a $1 chip that goes into the driver to make those LCD screens work is not nowhere to be found. These large companies are scooping them up. There's nothing left for some of these other companies. So it might not be a question of like, just buy now, Tommy, buy now. It's not getting any cheaper. It might also be a question of he can't get much of what he can to get enough of those units to fulfill all of those orders.
So here's where the issue comes in then, because again, we are focused and determined to deliver pre-ordered units by the end of the year. From October 10th to the end of December is only an extra 2 months. So where is he going to find them in 2 months that he didn't find them before? And that's where the issue is. And what he said is we can get them in small quantities, but and I'll take Vito's thing for a second. Let's just pretend that screen is $4 on the regular. But in the scenario Tommy's given us, for them to buy 100,000 of those, it's $4. For him to buy 2,600 of them, well, that's going to cost him $8 a screen. So we all understand that piece of it, and that drives the cost of manufacturing up. And by the way, it's not just that. Yet the cost of shipping has increased. Go to the
dude, you just made like a Hollywood quality video. You say your setup.
Dude,
my setup is pretty terrible.
Well, no, Panda's setup is great for recording because it's.
I know. I'm just messing with him. I just have to give him shit because he made like this insanely Hollywood fucking.
But he doesn't. I don't think he's set up for like podcast right now. If that's what they're talking about.
I don't know. After that, I want to call him Pauper Sub 2000.
Dude,
every time I see his name now, I keep thinking C Lab like 2000.
Yeah.
It just pops in my head.
I just keep thinking of that line.
The price would go. Well, no, the price goes up as you buy less typically.
Yeah, it goes right. So that's it.
Yeah,
right.
Call for special wholesale pricing to get that price to, manageable.
Yeah, if you ever see wholesale pricing, and Rab has, and I have, it's 1 to 100 is X, 100 to 2,000 is a lower price, 2,000 to 10,000 is a lower price. That's so price goes up with volume when you're buying them in bulk. It just does, and that's why companies can put things out. That's why computer companies can put things out at the prices they do sometimes, because they can buy 10,000 things at a time. They can buy.
I think part of people's argument is like, hey, if you're seeing this on Amazon for $6 and it's going to cost you $8 to buy them from like part blah, buy as many as you can on Amazon and use those, right? But that brings another logistical problem. Is okay, so say you have Amazon Prime and you can buy all these and you get them there, then you still got to get them to the location that you have to get them to have the controller manufactured, and that shipping's not paid for. So that adds another couple of dollars probably per screen, making it more than if you just bought it from like the main supplier to begin with that will get them to the location without you having to pay all those extra logistics, right? So you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you can get them and you can build them in-house, like literally where you're at, wherever you have them shipped to, then maybe, right? But you don't know if they can ship them there. You don't know what the logistics are getting there, or how long
they're not going to raise the price. Miko Shill. Yeah, they're not going to do that.
I mean, if you paid with the cost of the parts that they're paying, if they put it out for what it currently costs, I promise you nobody would buy it.
Yeah.
Like, even I would look at it and go, I don't think so. Yeah. Because it's starting to compete too much with the current consoles now. And it's all because they're a smaller company with smaller manufacturing that they need done that can't drive the cost down, and so it just costs too much right now. And it's going to have to compete with like much bigger consoles, and you can't avoid that number at that point, and it just starts to look ridiculous. You just can't do it, man.
Yeah, they might not even be able to
Well,
manufacture in
and
China.
not only
so
that,
it's-
but not only that, but they're one of their things is it's affordable.
Yeah.
Once you cross
Yes.
that 250 threshold,
It's
I
not
don't know.
affordable anymore.
Even
Yeah.
a lot of people are complaining that the 250 is not really what they would consider affordable for this console already.
Yeah,
So people
250 is at the
already
peak. It really
Looking
is.
heavily about the price point now, and if you bump
Yeah.
it up, just no, just
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
And-
they couldn't do that.
And you
That's
know,
a good point. Lowest ranking shield. Too many features. Here's what I think. They probably should have just stuck with. I think they got really ambitious with the games. You know, wanting to have 35 games at launch. Maybe in hindsight, it was a little too ambitious.
Sure.
Maybe they should have just stuck to the packing games and have gone from there. You know,
But-
but hey, hindsight's
Or 10 or
2020. There's
12.
not much you could do at that point. So
yeah, 10 or 12. You know, you get the big ones out.
but that's not their issue. So it's like we could talk about
Well-
35 games or 25 games. They're, you know,
But,
the games
yeah.
themselves, they could put a little money. I mean, at 100 to 250, 300,000 a pop, they could put that money into a few other games and you know, have 25 games ready for launch. No problem.
Dude, even if you came out with like 10 games now, you got more games out at launch on the console than most of the consoles have right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That are new consoles.
And
Even
I-
if you just
and I-
had 10.
Uh,
I mean, it's
yeah.
a pretty low bar right now as far as like console for games at launch. Whether or not they're games that people feel like they want to invest in, is another story. What's worth $10, $12, $15 to one person is worth zero to another person. So, you know, it is what it is. But I mean, for people that are already interested in the console, having 15 games, most of which you're going to be interested in, is a far much better spectrum than like what I even have on the PS5 now. And it's
Right.
been out for like over
Yeah.
6 months.
And part of that too is that
still mad about
television-
Horizon Forbidden West.
I
It was
know.
literally the only game I wanted to fucking play this year.
Oh, dude, that and
Horizon
God of War.
Forbidden
No,
West.
both of them. I
Fuck,
wanted
man.
God of War too. I mean,
God of-
the-
Yeah,
God of
fucking
War
don't-
was,
yeah.
God of War was supposed to be out this year too. And they, I know, man.
I'm gonna fucking go off on Sony. Listen, I mean, I had a PS5. I sold it. I'm gonna fucking shit on this thing. I could play on my PS4, and then I found out Horizon and God of War's come out on PS4. I'm like, I don't need this fucking giant, ridiculous console. Fuck this thing. So I sold it. I'm glad I sold it.
I got a digital one for $200. I couldn't, you know, for when they do come out. But see, again, when they do come out, I'll have it.
Yeah.
But here's one of the other issues that Intellivision faces, which does have something to do with the amount of games. Is if you remember, Tommy has said they put in money to the developer. They paid the
Upfront.
developers up front for these games.
Yep.
So, you know, I think there's a case to be made that maybe not paying up front for 35 games and paying up front for
Well,
12.
They're not. I think the reason why we don't see all these games is because with the extra year delay, that money that would have been going into those games to get 35 games out, the money had to come from somewhere to be able to pay $1 million payroll every month, and that's before you get into, you know, paying for office space, before all the other expenses. You know, they have a lot of money they had to eat over the last month, and buying T-shirts on the store and color changing mugs is not putting a dent in any of that. So I think, you know, but scaling down from 35 games to something like 25 games, that might save them a couple million. That might get a couple months revenue.
Yeah, it might, you know, and I guess again, my question was, knowing what was going on, why couldn't they have put some money aside for this, for the founders? I mean, they made $12 million in that investment. They
Well,
Dude, you
could
don't
have
know
put,
what kind of numbers they're running though. That's the problem,
Yeah.
right?
And-
You've got office space, you've got employees, and
I understand.
I mean, in California, I mean, paying an employee like say $100K a year is probably enough for them to live on. Maybe. California is freaking crazy expensive, dude. Colorado here, Like they're paying freaking.
But if you're constantly raising money
$19 an hour,
Yeah.
and that's not even
Nick,
getting them an apartment.
Nick, if you're constantly raising money just to fund your daily operations, how the fuck are you going to get a console out? Like that's the thing.
Dude,
like
I don't know,
Yeah.
dude.
That's
I don't know. I don't
startups.
know the numbers.
That's startups. There are hundreds of thousands of startups. That's all they do. You are always raising money. When we had Nick on, and then we can email
He
the guy.
even said
He will
that.
tell us
He literally
how
said
much-
that.
I've been a consultant.
but
with a number of companies. They are always raising money from every source. You don't stop. You're pre-revenue. It's always asking for more.
But now at this point, though, when they do launch, they're going to take a loss.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
So
take
which
a
means
loss
you
there,
continually are going to have to raise money
which was
up
the plan
until
anyway.
you could pay what you can to make a profit off your hardware, which
Well, they didn't
be
want to go through venture
over a
capital,
year
but-
from now. It could be over a year from now until they're in a position to where they can make a profit off of the hardware because of the chip shortages and the cost.
Right.
Dude, you're launching a brand new console market at the most difficult time in our almost recorded history to launch a console. Like, there's not a console on the market that has had a more difficult time to launch than now. And other people are doing it. They're getting it done. So it's not like it's out of the realm of possibility to get it done. But I mean, you can't make light of the fact that, like, when the NES launched, that wasn't nearly as hard as this, and it was brand new. And the Xbox launched, they had an uphill battle, but they had the backing of Microsoft as a company, right?
Yeah,
To
and the
back them.
N64
And on
had
top of that,
delays.
it was a
and
brand new
television
launch,
had
and they
delays.
took a huge loss. Every console launch that they take, every single one of these manufacturers outside of Nintendo takes
Nintendo
a
does as well.
fucking
not in the last
bloodbath on the hardware. They do
But-
it willingly.
Sure. Well, but and
And we
it's
lost
our,
John.
It's our show now. See, I think John
Nick
was
came in with
having
the language.
Yeah, John. Well, I think John was having internet problems, and he didn't listen to me when I said reboot your internet modem. I think that's what his OBS problems were too, because he's been kind of low res tonight on his video. So the thing is that the other problem that they face is that they don't, Microsoft can get away with, taking a loss on the Xbox Series X. The PS5 can do it because they've got software that costs $60-$70, and Microsoft's got a $20 a month or a $15 a month subscription to cover that. They can't cover those losses with $2.99, $5.99, $9.99 games.
Yeah.
They can't, and that's another issue that, that is going.
Not only that, but where they thought they'd be able to make a little bit of money on things like the controllers, that's where the cost is, and that's where it's gone up, and that's why the controllers are so much more expensive than what Tommy was talking about a year ago. Tommy was not talking about
when I actually heard the
$70
number
for
of how much
a
it costs to
controller.
make one of those controllers, literally my eyes bugged out a little bit. I was shocked.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't think for a second they cost that much to make.
So where do they make the profit? It is going to be years, but investors understand that when you go with a startup like this and you're not going with some sort of unicorn that is going to make $5 billion and flip that startup, they understand what Intellivision is. I think Intellivision's going to have to go back to that investment well a few times. I think
They're going to
that's
have
just
to,
part
man.
of
They've
what
got
it
to
is.
Well,
stay
they don't have a
somehow to get this
choice.
done.
They don't have a choice. But this is why I think that it is almost, and I'm going to stand by this, I think it is almost tantamount that they figure out in the next however long it takes how to get the founders editions out.
Yeah.
Because again, it's one thing you're right. You always are getting investment. You're always getting bank loans and things like that. But when you don't have a product on the shelf to prove that you're gonna make that money back, that you're gonna get, we got our founders out. Everybody loves it. It's what we were hoping.
Yep.
They're buying games even
a
beyond
win.
it's a win.
And
And
I
investors
agree
see
with this
that.
point. And to pile on to this a bit, yes, you take a loss. Yes, maybe you take a bath on it a little bit, but you're going to have to at some point, because
Right.
if you don't start showing a product in somebody's hand,
If you don't take
and
the
you don't
bath,
have
it's
people
gonna stink.
actively playing it, you start to lose goodwill.
Yep.
And the moment
Right.
you start to lose goodwill, you can't get those investors. So you might lose more investor money by not getting it out than you would if you got it out.
I'm going to
And
go
then-
back to my World War One, and no, I'm just kidding.
and that's why I've got to go with Mike on this one, because I get where you're coming from, and to an extent I agree. But
You let this ass back in.
but dude, at some point,
Listen,
who
I
let
was
him back
going
in?
off.
We
I
took
was
over the
going
show.
off,
It was
and the internet
ours.
literally crashed, and I went back and watched them. You guys didn't even get my rant. I think you missed it. But what I was saying was, before I got this, has been like the tech night from hell on my side. My thing is this: like, if they're waiting to launch and then beyond that to get their costs down so they can start making a profit off of everything, they're literally going to be waiting for a year. This thing's never going to come out.
It will die.
And that's going to be the end of it.
It will die.
Yeah. Now, are you done with your rant?
Yeah, I think that was it.
I want.
Res, are you done yet?
Wow.
No, sorry.
No, I think
that was rude.
Actually, it was really funny.
it was. Actually, yeah.
We again, we don't know. We know that Intellivision has had a lot of Plan B. C. They were already on like Plan
Sam
B.
Retro's here. He looks pissed.
So they.
Oh, I saw his video earlier. He was pissed.
Oh, I didn't see his.
I did. I watched it.
I haven't watched it.
I
I
got-
saw the title come up and went, I don't know if I want to click on this or not. Even
yeah,
the title
I saw
seems
it.
angry.
I watched it. I got that notification bell, and I said, "Oh, I need to see what CM Retro is saying."
I lost.
Sorry,
my
go
train-
ahead, Rab.
I lost my train of thought, but go ahead.
World
we
War
got
One.
CM
You were-
Retro. We got better. Go ahead.
You were going to Vietnam War, is what you were.
So there I was. Charlie was all over it. No, I'm good.
Oh, Mikos were flying everywhere.
Yeah, I just think that we're so worried that like nothing is going to come out in 2021, and what Intellivision has done now, and I did not like the wording of this totally. And Tommy, you know, I knew a couple days before that this was going to happen. He's like, just a heads up. We've all known for
We
a
knew.
while that there's
We-
going to be a
we
delay.
saw it.
We saw the writing on the wall. Everyone's like, yeah, how do you feel about the red flags? Like, when they don't put the date in the E3 presentation, you know they're very concerned about this. You know, back in April when they're like, well, we're not sure. We still have to get all the parts. We don't know. And there's no real progress. Like, do you have the parts? Do you have the parts? We all kind of saw the writing on the wall. I still think they will do everything in their power to get some of those units out, because if they can just get some people playing the thing, talking about the thing, showing off the thing. If I had a unit, I would be out there showing other people like every weekend. I'd be going, making friends on the street corner. Hey, let's play Amico. You know, it's just an opportunity for other people to show you have a working product. You get rid of all this, like, it's a scam. It's not real. You don't even have a real product. You have a real product. Now your next hurdle is getting to 100,000, getting to 1 million, getting to 5 million. But you have a real product. It is being enjoyed by people, like John said. That may be delayed because they may have to say, you know what, with the price of this thing, then
I'm
and
so glad you put that up there. I so wanted to put that up there.
but it might be too expensive to do right now. But in 2022 or 2023, they might be able to do the numbers they want, and it might be more of a consumer product. And right now, it may have to be niche, which is not what it wants to be.
Let's say, dude, you can't delay this thing till like 2023.
No.
you
The
can't.
main
It's
launch,
dead
not
at that
the
point.
VIPs, not the founders,
No.
not the niche retro market, but the main launch to casuals. That's what I mean by
Yeah.
like a 2023, when they can get the cost of production
And-
down to $200.
Ryan,
And
buddy,
honestly-
wanna play some Amico?
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, I got like 4 or 5 people here in Maryland that were like, hey, when you get this, can we come see it? Can we set up a meetup? I mean, I could rent a small hall and bring my Founders Edition and have people play. I literally have people asking me if we could do that kind of thing.
Yep.
Zach,
but-
it's not backed from a traditional crowdfunding. Like there's
Yeah.
not
Yeah, no,
a
it's
set number of
No,
backers.
it's from
not,
Propublico,
there's
which is like
pre-orders,
an-
but there's
is an
no backers,
investment.
yeah.
It's unprofessionally classified as investment kickstarting, but it's basically a way of the public investing in a company that can't be publicly traded by investing through Republico, which is a company capable of publicly trading. So it's a way
Crowdsource
smaller
funding.
companies that can't publicly trade themselves of doing that to raise revenue.
Right.
And at this point, I may have to bow out. I would love to hear CM Retro like tear into things, but I'm afraid if I don't get spend some time with my wife, she might tear into me and like tear stitches and all sorts of other
Start giving
bad
her
things.
sleeping pills before you start streaming.
Yeah, she's done with those, unfortunately.
Get her to go to sleep and then come back on.
Let's go, rubber feet. You're tired, you know.
Right. Right. Hold on.
Put some
Wait,
ambient
hold on.
music on.
There you
That's
go.
in a way. The Amico's delayed. I'm not in the mood.
You're getting sleepy.
Yeah, she's not watching the stream, by the way.
The Nico being delayed.
You're getting
is like
sleepy.
the male version
Nick,
of I have a headache.
Nick needs to stay on with his friends. Nick needs to stay on with his friends. Oh my god.
They haven't sold any
God.
systems. They pre-order. You could put a pre-order down, but it's a $100. It's $100, 100% refundable if you cancel. So they're not taking. They're taking pre-orders, but from my understanding, I think Tommy said it on one of my live streams. It goes in like an escrow account. They don't even really use that money. I don't think they legally can because if they're and as a company, why would you use that money? Because you'd be risking it. You have to give it back if they cancel.
That would be
Right.
embezzlement. Yeah. So
Yes.
you can't.
Yeah.
You can't do that. It'd be bad.
Now, the Republic Co. money, they can use that whenever that clears. Because I know even once they finish, they can't touch
Yeah.
that money when
Thank
it's in
you,
a campaign.
AVP.
There's a certain time period after that when it's cleared that then they can touch that money. So even if they start raising like now and they finished in like say a month, it might be another couple weeks to a month before they could even touch that money at that point. So they have to very carefully plan out a lot of this funding to keep themselves afloat. It's a lot more logistics and hurdles than you think. And we've just totally talked over CM Retro, who's just sitting there looking angry. Like I can feel him like burning a hole in the back of my head. He's totally gonna nail.
angry, I promise. I just, and you guys covered pretty much like everything that's important or pertinent. I mean, it's just like, don't make a video about physical media and then not show me physical media, and then
I thought it was interesting.
we're gonna have a delay today or yesterday. I actually got the same email twice. One at
I did
midnight.
too.
and
Some
one
people
at,
got it
like,
3 times.
and one at like 7:00 this morning, and I'm like, listen, if there's a delay, there's a delay. Okay, I mean, grow up. You know what I mean? If it's a parts issue, then it's a parts issue. But I just don't like the way that they're handling this. Show me the physical media. You make this video, and you don't really show it. You don't show it at all, actually. So it kind of puts people on the defensive and in a sour mood. And then all of a sudden you get this nonsense today. And I really hate to say it this way because it would be unethical from a company standpoint. If they get a soft launch or they're able to fulfill some of these pre-orders, it would be in their best interest to get it into people on YouTube and Twitch's hands who are going to live stream it for a couple hours like every week to keep the product alive, because I think it's losing momentum a little bit.
Agreed.
I think it is too.
Yeah.
It's
Everything
cool.
you
I
said.
love it. We're doing all these cool things, and all of a sudden, poof, it's gone because of these delays. And I'm not saying anything about COVID or the vaccine. We're not talking about that. But how much longer are we going to use the COVID excuse for bad leadership? I mean, and that's what it boils down to.
Yeah,
It's fair. You said
I-
something interesting in your video, Chris, where you said that they showed physical by just showing a box. And your thing that got me was it was 2 months before a launch, and you're not showing me what I'm buying. I thought that was an interesting point because you were right about that.
Yeah.
I mean, because I want to buy it, and I'm a physical guy, so I get it if you're into downloaded content, that's cool too, but I like the physical stuff. I like having something physically in my hand, and it's like you're showing me all these games and asking me to buy them without really proving to me what it actually is. And I was talking to Down Phoenix earlier. I think the rumor is some of you guys have seen it and you're not saying, and that's fine. I get it, but if it's this RFID touch it to the console type stuff, well, how long is that going to last? My Nintendo cartridge, they've lasted 40 years. Will I get the same type of longevity out of an RFID, keychain or little whatever it is, bubble or figure that I touch to my Magic console? What's the shelf life on that? Because if I'm going to buy it, I want it to at least be able to last. And quite honestly, if they're not durable, then I may just buy downloads because I'll at least have it on my console or my Amico account or wherever. But that's also going to mean instead of paying $20 for a physical, I'm going to pay less than $10 for a download. So, Team Intellivision isn't making the money off of the physicals. So when they do decide to show physical, they better come with the thunder, because it's really one of those things where it's like, I'm kind of in the middle. You guys that love these old pre-Nintendo consoles that you grew up with, that's great and everything. And I know you're excited about the Amico, and that's awesome too, but I didn't. So for me, I'm just not going into this blind and going, it's all cupcakes and rainbows, and I'm just going to buy everything just to support the product. It's got to be good. It's got to be quality.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you from a quality standpoint, I mean, all of us here, with the exception of you, Chris, have played it. So I can tell you from the quality is there. That's one thing that
that's what's frustrating.
It's exceptional. And Mike, you're right. That's what's frustrating.
That's what's frustrating
is
because
it's fun and it is a very good quality console. The controllers,
it's exceptional for the price point, and the system itself looks like a good quality product. The controller feels like a good quality product.
Sorry, good. Nick.
And to go to your point, CM, is I had a ColecoVision when I grew up, but most of my better formed gaming memories are from the NES and up. I was just talking about this on my Discord today. People get all weepy-eyed about the Atari 2600 and the ColecoVision and the Intellivision. I don't really have. I got a few memories of the Intellivision, but not a lot. But I've got a lot of memories of Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt and Metroid and Zelda and 4, right? So that's where most of my memories are. I'm excited about this because it's a new console coming to the market. I'm further excited about it because I've actually gotten to sit down and play it, and I see the value you're getting for your dollar, which is as good, if not better, than a lot of indie games that I've spent the same amount of money on or more. So it seems like a good value for your dollar as far as your replayability and everything like that goes. But they got to get it to market so other people can see it, right?
I pre-ordered the Wood Grain, and I'm happy with it. And I've known John a couple of years. I trust what he's saying. You know what I mean when he says that he's played it and this is the type of quality we're getting. But and I'm not begging Tommy to send me one at launch. I'll wait my turn. But I'm absolutely one of those guys that would do an unboxing video on it. I would live stream it for 2 hours on Friday, 2 hours on Saturday, 2 hours on Sunday. So it just, I got other shit I could do and other games I could play.
Yeah, let me address this. Vito has some really good points regarding. Someone has echo, by the way. Vito has really good points regarding physical. This is why, because I know the answers to these. I can't fucking tell you.
I know
because he hasn't.
Can't tell you.
Tommy, listen, okay, and here's another thing. Tommy has these hopes and dreams of going on, David Letterman, whoever the fuck is on these days. I don't know. I don't watch late night shows. Jimmy Fallon, whoever the fuck. And he's talking about, I want to go on this. I want to go on that. I'm going to show off physical media. Listen, dude, people have questions about this shit. A lot of people have a lot of questions. You gotta start telling people what it is. People are starting to get pissed about this.
Especially at this point, because now they've made a video going, hey, here's the physical media, but we're not going to actually show you the inside of the box. And I get that.
Right.
And I honestly, when they put out that video, I thought that was here's another further proof that we're ready to go. This is something manufactured, ready, that we can put in our hands right now. We are ready to launch in October. And then he hit me up asking me to read that email, and I'm like, wow, okay. Yeah. This one's going to hurt, and you're going to get some bad PR for this. And honestly, and I hate to tell you this, Tommy, it's kind of earned, my man. Oh, God. It's kind of earned. Not to the level you're going to get it, but it's kind of earned.
But this is this is where like I agree with what CM Retro's saying about, you send this video out with the physical media and it seems like things are going swimmingly or you're moving on, and for in television they want to show you physical product, they want to show you that they're moving forward, that they are putting stuff out, that things are happening, so they think they're doing something good, but it comes so close to this message that actually we're delayed, we're trying to get things out by the end of the year, but we don't have a committed date because we've been screwed over a couple times on a committed date and we just don't know what those numbers are. I think in television is running into a problem of they don't have a very good communication strategy for what they're trying to kind of adjust to and what they're trying to kind of come back and show like, okay, they have to show that they're still moving forward. The feedback from YouTube is you're a scam, you're fake, you're a fraud, you're stealing people's money, you should be investigated. They have a very vindictive audience that is going after them for every little thing that Tommy has said because they are trying to be transparent and they're being accused of not being transparent because they're not telling them every little thing that they want to know. So they don't have a communication strategy to kind of approach and react to what's going on and to the changing situation. And you're going to be seeing these blunders like they made with showing physical media and looking like the thing is ready to launch. And then within 10 days, you've got this email that actually we're not ready. We're not going to be able to send 100,000 units into production. We're not going to be able to send 20,000 units into production for October 10th. October 10th may come and go and nobody may have their system. So it's a miss on messaging and communication, and it's because they are putting out fires right now and trying to respond to all of these. It goes to leadership, yes, but
they really need a PR person. I think is what it boils down to, Rab. Like they need a dedicated PR person, not Tommy trying to formulate out an email and try to phrase it right and run it by us. Not that I don't appreciate that. But I'm not like your PR person, right? I'm a terrible PR person. I'm so damn blunt in the office that people look at me like, and then look at my coworkers like, is he okay? Like, why is he angry with me? I'm like, they're like, no, he's not angry. He's just telling you how it is. Like, I'm not the person to do your PR at all.
But and
Sam,
and John just said it. Tommy was talking about Letterman and all these. Like, how about you get your freaking console out before you start worrying about going on these nationally syndicated shows and pushing your product? Like that it doesn't seem like he's, and I know he's a laser focused guy and he's a high performer, but how about we get our console out before we start worrying about going on David Letterman and I don't even know who else does late night, but it's what are we?
Well, Letterman doesn't anymore. It's mostly like Jimmy Fallon now.
What are we talking about here? That is an absolute
that was their PR approach.
issue.
But that was part of their PR approach. I mean, the fact that Tommy does have a lot of connections and the people that he's brought in also have connections and they do want to reach a massive audience that is not into gaming. So to be able to kind of move past and get on these platforms without spending tens of millions in advertising dollars on television or Netflix or Hulu on ads, that is part of the approach. So I can understand why they're saving some of that, but it's like it's meaningless fluff to us if we don't even see. It's frustrating for us that we don't see a product,
right? But
they're
Rab,
saving this stuff.
I get it that he wants to market this to like non-gamers, but if they're not putting ads on the radio or on the internet or on TV, gamers are the first people that are going to get this console. So we're going to be the ones out there pimping it for him, essentially. Yep. By live streaming it and unboxing videos and
and I told Tommy
Amico pickups. So if he doesn't think that gamers play a part in his product getting pushed, I think he's missing the bullseye there.
Well, I've thought about this and I've wanted to say this to him and explain to him that showing the stuff on YouTube or showing it to us or letting us talk about it or letting us, so and so and so on doesn't preclude him from going on Jimmy Fallon with it. I mean, before I can never remember the guy's name who launched Kinect from Microsoft, Kudo Tsunoda. before he went on Jimmy Fallon and brought the Xbox One onto his show, they showed it at E3 to millions of gamers.
Mhm.
He can do that, and then he can go on Oprah. He can go on Ellen, because those people that are going to watch Ellen are not the ones who are going to watch that video on Intellivision's website, or watch John or Nick or you or Rab or me or NLG or anybody like that show this stuff off. It's a whole different audience. So you answer the question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead, John.
Vito, I have to disagree with your point on this, because I've actually watched people who are like teenagers, hardcore gamers, play the Amico and legitimately enjoy their time playing it. And I'm not just saying that because I got to fucking play it, and Tommy came out here and we did the Crayola thing. Like, I thought there was going to be a certain group of people that were not going to like this thing, and I'm like, I'm not even going to show it to them. And and they enjoyed it. They had fun playing it. Now, are they going to buy it over like a PS5? No. But I think somebody who just enjoys gaming in general is going to enjoy the Amico. I really do believe that. I thought it was going to be niche too, but I saw a lot of different demographics of people enjoying this thing. So
And
I would
can
have
we
to
finally
respectfully
put this-
disagree with you on that.
This thing, that whole comment, that's the one that annoys me the most. Would I buy this over a Switch? No, I'm gonna buy it in addition. Like,
Right.
literally, that's how it's advertised, right? Like, I love my Switch, dude. I'm a huge Switch fan. I know a lot of people on this panel aren't. I fucking love the thing. I think it's a great console. Oh, I was super happy to have it when my wife was in the hospital, because I sat there playing Super Mario World, which I've already beaten on the Wii U, and I'm playing it again. And having a good time with it, okay? So, telling me people aren't going to buy this over Switch, no, they're probably going to buy it in addition to that, because the Switch, as good as you say it is, does not bring people together like this system. I've seen it. You don't get the same reaction, man. The last time you got anywhere close to this reaction, and it wasn't nearly as good, was the Wii. And it wasn't nearly as good. And if you haven't seen the videos and you haven't been paying attention to that, then quite frankly, you need to go watch them, because they're out there. They're on a television site, they're on my site, they're on John's site, they're on Rab's site, they're on Relic's site, Cyrus's site. It's out there to see these reactions.
Yeah, most of my kids. Whoa, both of my younger kids have Switch Lites. Both of them have iPads. Both of them have. There's an Xbox One X upstairs that I brought up from down here so that I can have my Series X. And yet, and all of you know, well, except CM because he wasn't in Pennsylvania, but all of you know my 10-year-old who's got a Switch Lite and an iPad and can play on the Xbox One X and all of that is absolutely excited for the Amico.
Dude, this argument with everyone's going to buy a Switch first is the most like insane argument. Why buy a Switch if you have a PS5? Why buy an Xbox if you have a PS5? Like, people like to have multiple options. I hate the way people have to do. See, the people like you, bro, are still stuck in this whole like console war thing, man. Listen, it's not 1990 anymore. You can move on, bro. People like to have other systems. I have I have 2 Xbox One consoles in my house. I have a PS4. I have a gaming PC, and we're gonna buy an Amico. Like a lot of people like different things, and they're gonna have other things. This isn't gonna be a Amico over Switch. I don't even know where people are.
And by the
way,
the Switch has been out for a while.
Right.
That market's getting saturated. People have the revenue to pick something else up now.
That's why they've been.
They're not launching at the same time. It's not like you're launching the Amico the same day the Switch came out.
And by the way, I'll answer his question, because if it wasn't for the fact that this thing got delayed, if it wasn't for the fact that the Amico got delayed, I would have had an Amico before I had a PlayStation 5. And you can go back to my show. Peter is in the chat. He will back me up on this. I would have had an Amico before I had a Series X had they not delayed the Amico and then I stumbled across a Series X pre-order from a friend. It was like kismet. But had I not, I would have had the Amico before any of the next gen consoles. So that's a bunch of bullshit too. See, those are the things that annoy me. Just like you, Nick, you can actually buy multiple consoles, and it's not you're naming the better consoles before the Amico. No, I just told everybody. I just told you all. My kids have a Switch Lite already. They have an iPad that they've had for years. They have a One X. They've got all these things already that they're touching, and yet at the end of the day, they're excited for the Amico. Yeah. So that makes absolutely no sense.
Here's the other thing with this. I don't think the PS5 is better than my Switch. I don't think my Switch is better than my PS5. I don't think it's better. Okay, I think the PS4 is better than the Xbox One because I found more titles on there I liked. But that's a personal opinion, right? But each one of these consoles I have because it brings something different to the table for me. And the Amico does too. That's why I want one.
Yeah. And I love my Switch, but all of the games I really wanted to play on the Switch are all $50, $60 a pop. So,
by the way, I have a Switch too upstairs. I forgot to tell you. I just never play it. It's literally been dead for about 5 months now. Except for the other day, I did charge it and they got annoyed because that thing's terrible in handheld mode because it fucking cramps my hands. So I literally have every
guys, I'm gonna bail out at this point, and I'm gonna let CM Retro actually talk for a change. Sorry. My bad.
Thanks, Nick.
He's just over there like, motherfuckers won't let me talk. I'm just going to go on mute. Raw! He looks so pissed.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out audio issues, so hopefully that helps. I got the headset and then the Blue Snowball mic, so I don't even know why I put this
No, you're
down.
good.
It sounds good.
Yeah, you're all right, man.
You sound good. The thing was, before you had your headset in, we were getting some bad feedback. It happens a lot when
I think it was because I had my Blue Snowball like real close to the computer,
Nick.
so it was coming out of the computer and going back in. So
yeah, it might have been it.
I set it over here. Yeah, I don't know, boys. I mean, listen, I hope they get it out. You know,
yeah,
dude. I literally, you seem to be saying it's for people who listen, bro. Listen, I don't know what to. I literally don't know what to tell you. Like, what do you want me to say?
Let's call this what it is. He's not being an honest broker here. Let's be done with that. He is not being an honest broker here. He's reading off the same ridiculous scroll of talking points that you know the yuckleheads have to get a rise out of us. So
exactly,
don't buy it.
You know what this is? You know who this is for?
Have fun.
This is for people who already own other systems. This is for people who are less interested in the direction of gaming now. This is for older people who are not getting into a Switch. This is for people who, schools that need multiplayer experiences, and this is advertising multiplayer experiences, and this is advertising that it's E and E10 plus. So it's very easy for me having a video game club or having an after school program to procure a couple of these.
I literally own my own fucking company. Like, spoken like a true so-and-so, because you know what the fuck you're talking about.
I was the head of marketing for an $80 million a year annual revenue company for 6 years. I know a little bit about marketing. You can go watch my videos if you want. I don't think you're going to like them, but we know a little bit about the stuff we're talking about.
Yeah, let him just do his little bullshit in the chat, because that's what he's doing, and now he's got attention. And you know what? I should have seen it 10 minutes ago, and I didn't, because you give people a chance, but they tend to show their colors. So
I don't mind people disagreeing, but when you start just inserting,
he's reading off the talking points, and
he's gone. I'm not. He's literally just at this point exactly. The talking points is exactly right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's kind of let's reel it in a little bit, instead of saying that it's for soccer mom or single dad or church group. For me, as a gamer, someone that plays a lot of games, I'm excited. I like the redone retro games like Astro Smash and Night Stalker. Yeah, that's cool. But the Amico has the real possibility of being a shooter powerhouse. And if it wasn't for Limited Run or the PS4 being region free, we still would not be getting a lot of shooters in the United States, and the shooters that we do get
That's a good point.
are collections. Star Soldier collection, the same Raiden 5s, the same Darius games. So optimistically, for me, those types of games are very appealing. For the Amico, they're typically a little bit easier to develop. Tommy has a great track history with making some kick-ass soundtracks, like Sega CD Terminator game. Great soundtrack on that bad boy. So, not thinking like these people may and those people and if this. No, specifically for me, that's what I'm excited about. And they're already giving us shooters. Launch day, we're going to get some shooters. Astro Smash, Rigid Force Redux, Moon Patrol. Flying Tigers, which looks awesome. So
game is so, dude, you're gonna love that fucking game.
Yeah.
Flying Tigers is
that game.
Oh,
that
dude.
game came out of nowhere,
That's good, man.
Jesus, that game came out of
reminds me
nowhere.
of like the 1940 series, almost like
Yeah.
1943
Yep.
Kai. It's more of like the
Yep.
It has like a Neo Geo AES
Aesthetic.
vibe to it too,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
So it's see, I share some of your frustration. I really do. And I think it doesn't do in television any favors for us to gloss over some of what we feel is the wrong moves or the things that they're, that they should be doing that they're not. It's hard because I understand the reasoning why they're going through this. I totally get it. And you just wonder, you wonder what's going on that's causing them to put the message out that they're putting. I think that's where I'm having the most trouble is the messaging
that's what I'm
continues
saying, Mike.
to be.
And that's all I'm saying. If you have a delay, you have a delay. That shit happens, right?
Yeah.
But this Cloak and Dagger stuff of not showing us physical media, when they released that video a week ago, they knew it was getting delayed. They knew a week ago, so they waited a week, to let everybody know. Oh yeah, we're gonna get you up, but then down again. It's just a bizarre sort of turnaround because Tommy was never really like that. When the Amico started coming out and he started coming on our live streams and whatever, he was very transparent about. These are the different console molds. This is where we're at with the firmware. This is where we're at with this, and this. All of a sudden, it seemed like the E3 was a cutoff. After, at E3 and after E3, they sort of went like behind closed doors. And Lady Ventress asked a question earlier about, would you be this upset if it were Sony or Microsoft? And all I can say is no, because they have a track record of putting out mostly good product. And I liken it to when the Game Chasers wanted to make a movie and everybody shit on them, and they took to Twitter like, well, the Super Trooper guys, they started a Kickstarter to start a film, and I'm like, you're not in the same league as them. That'd be like me saying, back my project because Steven Spielberg Kickstarter or something. You know what I mean? Like, we're not even talking apples to apples. This is completely ridiculous. But it's just one of those situations where it's like, if they want to help themselves out, they need to learn to communicate with the people that are actually going to buy their products right away. Because if they cut us off and we lose interest, then I don't know what their future looks like.
Yeah, I said it to Tommy, and I'll say it again. But I think you were talking about how Tommy was with us when he's being very transparent and he's coming on our shows and stuff. It was a very different vibe a year and a half ago. And over the past year, there's been a lot of aggressiveness against the company. And you see you see a lot of mistakes being made in kind of responding to that and reacting to that. But you also make a lot of mistakes when your back is against the wall, when there's the pressure of not putting this out, when the big articles from IGN or from Digital Foundry, some of the big players are not exactly giving you award-winning praise. You're going to feel, I think, a little bit embattled. And when someone asked earlier about how many red flags do you have to see to kind of see this as to see the light. I can forgive a small company like Amico or like Intellivision making some of these mistakes because they are a small company, because they're going to make mistakes, because the big guys make a lot of mistakes, but they have the money and they have the depth that they can hide a lot of that, and they can kind of, they've gone through the process enough times. They have the proven track record. Intellivision doesn't. Intellivision will make mistakes. I fully expect them to step in more holes along the way, but they do need to get their communication
People make
in
mistakes.
check.
It's not,
Yeah.
not the end of
You're
the
absolutely
world.
right about like just the communication, the messaging. It's a bit off right now, and they need to kind of reel back and like, what is our messaging? How do we kind of
Did he freeze?
Daniel got him.
Uh-oh.
Hey, what's up, brother Tread?
Not much. How you guys doing?
Good.
I'm glad I was able to catch the show here, and I'm thankful that I was able to get on here to actually speak. It was supposed to just trying to type real fast. So the one thing, and I understand, Tommy's been transparent the whole time, right? I'm going to keep kind of going on with this topic. You also got to remember where he was. He was grassroots and everything, right? Everything was, here's the idea, here's where it's going, here's the buildup, right? We all forget he's part of a company. Just because he's the top dog doesn't mean he's the only dog there. There's other people that are there that are controlling certain aspects. So if there's something that needs to be quieted down and brought back, they're going to bring them back. So yes, Tommy's might not be able to say something. So something that they released last week is contradicting to what was said the whole time, or this week. And that, you know what I'm saying? There's certain things that they're going to slip up on. There's a lot of wheels in this cog here, that the machine that's going to get tripped up on, and it's a learning process, right? So they have to figure out who they are as a company, how they're going to proceed. They have a lot of these people that are naysayers, right? And then you have people like you guys that believed in the product from the get-go. Then you have someone like me that was like, all right, let's see what it does. And then, listening, watching, okay, I see it. Getting my hands on it, that's when it really clicked to me. It truly clicked to me getting my hands on it. But the messaging, it's all been the same. Nothing's really changed. It's just now there's other issues and other items that are affecting what can happen and how it's being said and brought out. And a lot of people are nitpicking over the little details about this. Oh, it never said it had a cell phone. Day one, he's always said that you're going to use your cell phone. It never said this. It never said that. Physical product, there's a lot of different things that he's always been consistent on when he was open. And now, for whatever reason, we have a corporation that is saying, okay, we need to stop, tighten up. We've got too many people that are saying the wrong thing, doing the wrong thing. We've seen many companies do this before. They got to collect themselves and then come back again. And if this is a delay that's going to cause an issue, then be forthright. But at the same time, they have to watch what they say with the investors. Investors are putting their money and backing this console, this belief, this ecosystem, these games. Right? They're backing this, and all this negativity that these wannabes want to say and throw around is nothing in the bigger scheme of things, right? When you guys do address them, you're right. It's cannon fodder. Whoopee-doo. Not a big deal. Nobody knows who half of these people are that are like throwing shade all over the place. You know what I mean? Why do we have to be negative? Be critical about it. Okay. Let's okay. You could be skeptical. Nobody's saying that you don't have that opinion to be skeptical, to see what's going on. But all these other bigger companies do the same thing, right? Nintendo, Xbox tripped up all of last gen. Okay. Sony's tripping up right now with the SSD. I mean, it took them a year to figure it out, and then you could still bring in slower SSDs to work. Not a big deal. And I know I'm bringing in other things, but I'm trying to show you guys that there's a comparison here. Companies as big as Sony is, and PlayStation can do no wrong with these people, are still screwing up. They got too hype of themselves, right? Here's a small company trying to come back from where they were and bring out a product. It's not even competing with these people. They're trying to do their own thing, find their own niche, and push out and try to do the best that they can. Okay, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with doubting them, but quit bringing on the negativity. Okay, these guys here.
Well, there's some people that just want to pile
Right.
on it, and it's
And
their
all they're
gotcha
doing
moment.
is-
Like, this is the highlight of their 6 months. Like,
Right.
this is the highlight of their year.
But it's
You
look
know,
at
like,
me.
this is what
Look
they
at
got
me.
excited
This is
about.
what I said. This is what I said. Oh
Oh,
my God,
Amico
look
got
at
delayed.
me.
Look at us, guys.
And
Yeah,
it's like
I haven't watched Darius Truxton in like 6 or 8 months. I might check in tomorrow just to see what he has to say.
I could care less, to be honest with you.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't
can't
care.
either.
The people that I trust and the people that I've seen that are honest about their opinions and saying, look, I don't understand this. I don't see it in fruition. I don't see it happening. I could respect that. But when you keep on dragging it down, I can't respect that. And these people drag it down. That's all they're trying to do is draw attention to themselves. Hey, Tommy, look at me. Get me eye attention, right? That's all they're doing.
Cyrus.
Cyrus, yeah. So, but that's, you know, and that's kind of what kind of upsets me is why don't we be more constructive? Okay, you don't have to be all gun ho
Yeah.
that this is going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. Nobody ever said that. You know, Tommy's selling it because that's his product. He believes in something like that, right? Now, if Mike, with your podcast, if you didn't believe in it, you wouldn't sell it, right? You wouldn't push it and sell it, right? Same thing with
Right.
Retro Bro. You wouldn't sell your product if you didn't believe in it, right? You wouldn't push it and say, hey, look, this is what this does. You would push it because you believe in it. There's a difference between that and just like, oh yeah, this is the greatest thing, and walk away like nothing ever happened. Tommy's not doing that. He's fighting to get this to go and work and bring in investors. You know, he believes in this much. Now, yet again, everybody can believe what they want. They can do what, you know, they can have their opinion, but they just need to calm down with all this bullshit. Let's talk intelligently. Let's retort with intelligent answers. Let's, like, you know what I mean? If there's a question that you don't see what's going on, then all right, well, let's ask the question. Let's not down people for having pre-orders in. All right. I got my pre-order in. I'm a freaking Xbox gamer, right? Everybody knows that. I like PlayStation games. I grew up on PlayStation games. I grew up on Dreamcast. I grew up on Nintendo. You know what I mean? I skipped Saturn. I wish I didn't, but grew up
Yeah,
on
right.
Nintendo
Sorry.
and
I love the
Sega.
Saturn.
You know what I mean? Before that, okay, and this is why I say I'm a gamer. I'm not an Amico fan. I'm not an Xbox fan in that fanboy way, right? I'm a gamer. Why? I was playing Pong. I was playing arcades. We'd go to the arcade and pop quarters in, right? There's a difference when you talk about gamers and when you're talking about clowns. And those guys are clowns because all they do is play you guys, right? They're playing you guys to be like, oh, well, the Amico sucks. No, it doesn't. You haven't touched it. You haven't felt it. You don't even know how it plays. You haven't seen the lag. You're interpreting lag that there isn't. Just because I move my thumb on a video doesn't mean I'm actually pushing a button. Okay. There's so many different
we can't
factors.
expect them all to be super
Right, I
intelligent.
know that, but that's what I'm getting at. There's so many different factors that these guys are going after, and they can't just, hey, bring in constructive criticism. Let's bring in the proper questions.
Oh, that's water. Fail, John. Fail. That's
Yeah, and
water.
a lot of the haters.
So-
don't
I had
even
2
do-
beers. Give me a
Sorry
break.
for
even
blowing
do
up
the-
like this.
their
Sorry for
research.
blowing up. But that's
they-
exactly
like
research.
the Ed Finley video was the worst one in my opinion because he did like Fortnite the day before and he's got 12,000 subscribers. He did a Fortnite video, they got 400 views, and he thought to himself, what can I do to draw attention to my channel? And he made an Amico video, a not nice Amico video, but he was complaining that the GameStop Galaxy Purple Edition was like $300, and I'm like, but you get a $25 Amico gift card. I pre-ordered from the website, which makes them more money than pre-ordering from GameStop, and my wood grain edition was $280 something. So it's like the GameStop one was actually a better buy at 300 than buying one directly from Amico on their website, but he failed to mention any of that.
He failed to mention you get 2 controllers. He failed to mention you can use your phone for a controller if need be, or an additional controller if you needed to buy more. He failed to mention a few other things, which everybody does, right? They like to point out different things of the failures, of what they think are failures. But they're truly the failures because they haven't done the proper research, or they have, and they've left important information out, misleading the public, misleading their followers, misleading anybody else that doesn't know, that sees all this stuff.
I think it's dangerous to use your platform like that. I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody what to do on their own channel, but draw heat just to draw heat and then not give any of the facts. You know what I mean? It's sort of bull. It's Bush League is what it is.
Yeah, that's why I call it attention getting. It's all about look at me.
Well, that's YouTube today, man. That's just
That's the numbers.
That still doesn't preclude. It still doesn't preclude. I think anything we've talked about tonight. I think, CM had, like I said, I watched your video like right when it came out because I got the notification bell, and I was like, yeah. I mean, I can absolutely, now that I think of it, that's not a bad point either. And so I'm going. That's why I said earlier. Yeah, it's there's no reason not to go on these shows where you want to sell your product to, soccer moms and parents with kids and stuff like that. But you've got it's such a different audience than what we are. You could do both, and it would still be new information to Oprah's audience.
I guess what I want to convey is, he can have big lofty goals and he can sell this to every church group or soccer mom or whatever. But the reality of the situation is, I don't know any soccer moms that have pre-ordered the Amico. I know a lot of gamers that pre-ordered the Amico. Right. And that's sort of where it gets frustrating. Like,
they have to take care of who's supporting them.
He's in this circle. He wants to be in this circle. But he's not in this circle. But I feel like we're starting to neglect this circle. And I don't know if that's good,
Chris.
Nothing's going on in the big circle.
I agree with that 100%. And I told Tommy that personally when I spoke with him. I said, dude, you guys have to appease these people who have supported you. I said, because I know you want to be this, huge thing, and you want to be, the casual gamers console. I said, but right now your pre-orders are retro gamers and hardcore gamers. That's who's pre-ordering this right now. You can't get to that secondary or your main market or whatever you want to call it, your main market, without appeasing these people who have supported you. And he agreed. He's like, listen, we want to get these out first. And he's, I think Rab said it earlier. He never gave us an indication that there wouldn't be Founders and VIP at least out this year. So.
And what happens when we get to that? And that's still my sticking point. We're talking about a 2-month delta. We're not talking about 6 or 7 months. We're talking about 2. What happens when we get to the end of the year and they still can't get what they need to get out the door? What happens if unless they know, and we don't know. Nick said this earlier when he was on, and I'm saying this not knowing what is going on behind the scenes, and I don't want to know necessarily unless it's relevant, but you're not, again, you get to the end of the year and they're still having the same exact problems. Then what? Then what are you telling? Yeah. What are you telling Founders and VIP? In fact, what are you telling your pre-orderers? Because remember, and Rab alluded to this too, we're not the only pre-orderers. If you go to Intellivision's investment website, they say they've got 100,000 pre-orders. So what he's basically said in his email is we are focused and determined to deliver pre-ordered units by the end of the year. They've announced that there are 100,000 pre-orders. So what happens?
I don't think they're counting that 100,000 as. I think those are purchase orders. I think they're making the differentiation.
But that's what it.
That's what it
Yeah,
says.
that's what it
That's
said,
what
though.
it says, and it went out to everybody that pre-ordered. We are focused and
Yeah.
determined to deliver pre-ordered units by the end of the year. It doesn't say we're focused and determined to deliver our founders editions to our founders and our VIPs. It says delivered pre-ordered units by the end of the year.
Yeah, but
What happens though?
I can do a
You can-
pre-order. That's not part of the purchase order that GameStop or Walmart or that's not part of the 100,000. There's VIPs, and I think
Yep.
that's like 13,000, and then there's pre-orders, and that's GameStop and everyone else that has pushed that up over 20,000. But that's where you have the deposit, and that's different from the purchase orders where the retailers have said, okay, we want 15,000 of these for 2024 or 2021. So I think I think that's different.
The wording, though, it's all about the wording. It's
Yeah,
all about
the
what you're
word-
saying
The wording insinuates that anybody who pre-ordered this
is going to get
has
it.
a chance to
And,
get it.
and I'm
this
not,
year.
and just beyond that, again, what happens if not even the 2,600 of us can't get it? What happens at the end of the year when he's got to go? We can't. It's going to be 2022. Then what? I mean, yeah.
Well, what if it's 2,200 of us? I'm not part of us. I have a VIP and I've got 2 pre-orders. I didn't get a founders, but we don't know. They will be sending these out at some point. But I mean, does it mean 200 people get them and they get some breathing room? Does it mean 2,600 people get them and the other VIPs might get theirs in early 2022? I don't know. I mean, they're going to do their best to get those out, is what they said. That's pretty non-committal. So I think that gives them some room to deliver some and not meet all their commitments right away, which sucks for some people. But I think that's an option that's on the table as well.
We also have to remember what kind of a batch that they're ordering the cases, right? They have 5 different cases, right? If I recall, 4 or
I
5.
think the founders were 2 different, right? It was wood grain and graphite black.
Founders is
Right.
only wood
No,
grain.
wood grain. The graphite
You had-
black is VIP.
Yeah.
And
All
then
right,
you
I
still
thought-
had the red,
all
you
right.
got the purple, the glacier.
Red's not in production right now.
No, there's
Okay,
yeah.
so
red's-
that's okay. So that's not in production, but still, you have. Let's just say right there, you have 4 different variations to make. How many in the batch to make one color, and how many can he order? You know what I'm saying? So there's more variations here that we don't know that's causing other issues. I'm trying to side with them to give you guys the devil's advocate point of view on their side. All right. So I'm not trying to justify it. I'm just trying to let's open up our minds a little bit. Because sometimes some people take that and they take it and run with it as this is what they said, this is one-sided, and it's not, So when they do those batches, when they make those orders, how many facilities are making those colors? Is it one facility? Is it 4 different facilities where they can make those batches? More likely, it's just one facility making a batch order of, or so many batches of this type of color. And then they're going to switch over to the next one because it's the same mold.
Right.
I know the red is a different process,
Different
because
material too.
Right.
Yeah, but we're talking about, so if the founders edition is just wood grain, then you're talking about 2,600 at the most. That's what their founders edition number was. So if you, and remember, founders are supposed to get theirs first. That has always been the thing. When it was supposed to be last year, and it was supposed to be October 10th last year, we were supposed to get it October 2nd or something like that. So you have to also keep that in mind too. What happens if, now it doesn't matter for, I don't care one way or another, but are you going to get the founders editions out at the same time as all the rest of them? And then what's the mystique of the founders editions other than the gift card and the
Well, that goes along with
point.
this question, Panda. What would they have to do to right the ship? Get founders and VIP out this year before the end of the year. I think do what OEB Pete said, get that out, start generating some interest, you know, and then go in the next year and plan for your full scale launch. That's kind of what Atari VCS did, man. Like they got their founders out earlier, their backers out early, and now they're finally in stores. So you know, I think that's the route they need to take.
Let me ask you guys a question. Do you think, because I have 3 of these on order, I know a lot of people have multiple ones on order, and they are eating a ton of cost. Do you think there's any open possibility of them being able to maybe guarantee 1 per order for everyone who has one on order, and maybe delay if people have a second or third or fourth system pre-ordered?
That's a good question.
That's
maybe in lieu of you'll get your second one in 2022, but here's like a $25 gift card for, you know, more games. Would you be open to this? And if so, then you could get a gift card or some elect, you know, so that they don't eat as much cost, or they get it out to more people.
That's actually a good idea. I imagine that a lot of people would understand that. You know?
And they could actually offer that to everybody that pre-ordered. Like, hey, are you interested in getting yours in 2022, and we'll give you a $25 gift card, or are you still holding out that you'd like to get it by the end of the year? And then I could go on the website and go, you know what? I'll take mine next year. Give me the $25 gift card, and they could take my order off of the current orders and ship my console out to somebody that actually wanted it right away.
See,
I just have to wait a year and I'll get a gift card, you know? I mean, there's a lot of ways that they could do it.
That's true. You could delay your own, but I also think look, you can't, if you can't get the parts, you can't get the parts, right? So we've always talked about, if you know, this is what they have to do. I don't think there's anything wrong with sending an email to somebody who has pre-ordered 3 of them and said, listen, we can't ship all 3 of these to you right now. However, because you were a founder, because you pre-ordered your founders, we want you to get to get your founders edition. We will ship the rest of your consoles when we are able to manufacture them. You be straight up with them. You know, this is what we're able to do at this time. We want to make sure that you get an Amico in your home. I don't think you have to offer them $25. I don't think you have to. I think you just have to tell them the truth and give them one of their consoles that they ordered. And I think that's perfectly fine. I would totally, if I had 4 of, I know, like, and OEB Pete's in the chat, so he can answer this question. He's pre-ordered multiple ones, and Rab, you said you pre-ordered 3, right?
Yeah.
Would you be happy if you just got yours now and then got the other 2 later?
I would be fine to defer all 3. You know, I want to see the system out. I want to see the system do well. I'd love to play it, but I can go to other people's houses and make some friends. You know, it's not a make or break situation for me. But you know, if they have the ability of giving a perk, and these systems might cost them $400, $500 a pop to make, maybe there is a benefit to saying, you know what, I got my hands full right now. I would love to have this, but I could wait another year or 6 months, whatever, you know? So I just think it's a possibility. It's not something like you can't make an ultimatum from that, because people have ordered, they have expectations, but if people want to opt into this, it may be an option.
How do we know, just because the email says what it said, how do we know that they're still not doing it by first come, first serve? When it comes to, okay, these are the first founders. Here you go. Here's the next batch. Here's, here you go. And just
there's only 20. There's only 2,600 founders. So
right. So that there's not that much to worry about. You know what I mean? So pushing
honestly,
that out
should be produced already.
Right. Exactly. Pushing 2,600 out should be nothing. So I don't think that's going to be pushed back. I don't think, I think it'll be, Well,
it already was pushed back. That's the thing.
Well,
it was originally October. It's been.
I think they have to make that statement on mass that October 10th isn't happening for everybody. It could still happen for somebody, or October-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it's before the end of the year. Hopefully we should be getting some. So I would, just logically looking at it, first, the most important people are the founders.
Cornhole is done.
It is done.
What are you talking about? Go back and watch the interview I did with John Alvarado. It absolutely is done.
It's done.
It's done, dude.
See, that's the
Yeah,
thing. People make stupid videos and come up with these
doesn't-
fake
it doesn't look-
narratives, and people don't do their homework. It's
The
done.
game,
fair, though. To be fair, though, it doesn't look
Lord,
done to the
people.
layman viewer. Sorry,
well,
Mike.
right,
news.
because they
If you would
because they
spend more than
didn't
10,
explain.
10 minutes doing research
Yes.
and not watching troll videos online, you would know that, yes, it is done.
Yes,
And they did
What
explain it in the video. Whatever.
Yep.
Fucking
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
It's just
They
frustrating.
had the okay. Hold on, but
Jesus
hang on,
Christ,
hang on.
people. It's
I got
fucking rocket science.
Hey, I got this one, John. Don't worry. Breathe. Listen,
Take a drink.
they had the time to go back and make improvements on the controls. They said that. John Alvarado said the game's ready to go. They looked at it and said, "Hey, we could do this a little better." And so what they put together was a tech demo. They didn't strip out the whole game. They did a tech demo to see what it would be like to do this, and then they would hand it off to the developers. And because they were still looking at October, it could be implemented. But if they didn't have to do that, if they didn't have the time to do that, they would have shipped it with the control scheme they had, and it would have worked just fine. It's okay. You got to remember, these games don't have to go gold like other games do. They can work on these games up to the point in which you download them to your console. And by the way, day one patches. Please stop with this. Please stop with these nonsense things.
how many times have we seen other games? Okay, we're going to go with the AAA games that looked phenomenal. And when they came out, looked nothing like what you were expecting, right? And you bought this game. Now, bear in mind, this game, okay, Cornhole went back to be tweaked and fine-tuned even more. It's done, but they wanted to make sure they finessed it right. So you're going to say it's not done? It's done. You know, I still don't understand why you guys are listening to people that have a narrative of the negativity of look at me. Quit looking at them. Quit listening to them. You know who they are. They're toxic. Okay?
Yeah.
Listen and be realistic about it. It's done.
I think we're falling. I think what's happening. I got to get out of the chat because I think what we're doing is we're falling for we're falling for some folks that have come in to basically just try to troll and to try to be, you know, try to mask trolling in this. Oh, let me try to ask some questions that make it look like I'm asking legitimate questions, but they're not. They're not being honest.
Yeah.
Because if they were
You guys are
being, if they were,
sneaky. Listen, they're sneaky. They've been pretty sneaky tonight, man. I got to give them credit.
If they were honest people, they would have watched the John Alvarado interview.
Yeah,
they would have watched and listened to the Intellivision video where they explained that we've got time to check out some other ways to do this, and that's what they were doing. They didn't scrap it. They didn't rework it. If they needed, if the console launched in October, it would be perfectly fine, and that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. It's bullshit and it's nonsense, and it's taken up way too much time for us to keep having to go round and round in the same circles.
Would you want your game to be finished right now, or would you want them to go back and tweak it and perfect it? You know, put a little bit of time into it. Perfect.
They had the time. He
Finish
literally
it now and give me my glitching
do it
drama
now.
to booty.
Right. Because
I've never complained. Listen, the console. Say the console came out October 10th, right? If Microsoft and Sony were releasing a game, hypothetically speaking, or say a game was coming out in, you know, for just a regular AAA game was coming out, say June 1st, right? And you saw a video on April 1st, and maybe it needed a few things to it. Puddlegate. You guys remember Puddlegate with Spider-Man? God forbid the fucking puddle didn't look crystal clear or whatever. You know, how many's like, oh, that game's not done. How could they possibly do that? It's like, well, it has 2 months left that they could fix that, and it wouldn't be an issue. So people are stuck in this like old mentality of like they can't fix games.
Nobody remembers Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 when it came out.
Oh, apparently.
Lord. I mean,
Apparently
the
nobody remembers
landscape is littered with like Mafia 3, if you buy a copy of Mafia 3 on the Xbox or the PS4 and you put it into your console, you just get the definitive version because the first version was such a terrible, buggy, hot garbage. When The Last of Us 2 got delayed and got delayed and got delayed.
It is ready.
It was
San
that
Andreas
atmosphere
3.
where it was like,
It is ready, Zach. You're not listening to what we're saying. It is ready. They're going back and they're making improvements on it.
Still buggy.
All right. I just came off of an interview with Jim Heil. Okay. And he works for EA. Games will go into alpha, they'll go into beta, and there's various stages.
Thank you, Panda Sub. I really wish Panda, we gotta get you on here, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it goes into gold, right? But that's on their side. It still has to go to the consoles. And they have to approve it. And if they kick it back, they have different variations as to why they kicked it back, So it could affect their deadline. All right. Now, this is internally. So whether or not, you have a typical gold factor or not, right? It technically is gold right now. It's technically passed. And they just said, let's tweak it out. That's it. Yeah. There's different. And that's the thing. It is done. I can't say more than that. Okay.
Yeah. Somebody, I mean, the way he explained it to us is somebody came to them and said, "Hey, I've got an idea for maybe how we can make this throw a little bit better, a little more accurate." John said, "Let's take a look at it." They built a simulation. What you saw on the screen was not the game. They built like a little simulation and they played with it and they're tweaking it. And then they'll hand it to the developer and say, "Hey, why don't you try putting this in?" They even were coding it for them and say, "Hey, here you go. Here's a different way to do the controls." Not that the old controls were broken. It's that somebody said, "Hey, I thought maybe we can do this." That happens all the time. If you've ever watched any of our indie developer interviews, we just had Joe Winter from who's doing Song of Iron. That game launches on the 31st of the month. He's still working on it. He's still playing with things. He's still tweaking it. The game comes out in 20 days.
And it's technically done.
And it's technically done, but he's always looking at, hey, maybe I could do this with the sword. Maybe I could do this. Maybe I can make this mechanic a little better before I launch the game. And he's doing it with 28 days. Intellivision was doing this it was in July, August, September, October, and if it's going to be November, December. And with 3 to 5 months to go, it's not a big thing.
A tech demo is not indicative of the final game.
I have been
looking at preview
and that was
games.
just a gameplay environment.
That's all that was. It was. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, that wasn't the game. Yeah, that was not how the game looks.
No.
Go back and watch. John literally answers these questions. I'm repeating myself now.
They literally answered. They literally explained it on the Intellivision video. It's almost like people are watching a video and then muting the sound so that they don't have to hear the explanation.
Because Anyways, it's 1:13 on my end.
Yeah, me too.
I'm glad we covered this because Amico After Dark is probably going to come back end of the month, early September. Until then, I'm just going to be doing retro live streams. Really, that's about it. I got Chasm on Steam. I'm definitely going to stream that. I'm actually going to try and finish Spyro. I've never finished that game. I'm going to try and finish that game on PS1. So I'll probably stream that some more. But hey, Dreadpool, it was nice having you on, man. Finally.
Yeah, thank you for the last minute interjection here.
Yeah,
no, anytime.
Thanks
and
for the insight.
CM Retro, as always, thank you. CM Retro came in hot tonight. I hope we cooled him down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna fire up the PS4 and probably live stream some Earth Defense Force if anybody wants to swing by.
Nice.
Cool.
I might be going to bed, but I might just drop in and say hi. What was that game you were playing earlier before the stream? That game looked kind of cool. You said it.
I was playing Tang Adventures on PS4. It was a limited run game, and I think they released it in like Play.
It's a digital. This is a digital release, though, right?
Buster Bros. And then after that, I was playing Caladrius Blaze, which is a pretty underrated shooter on the PS4.
Yeah, Nice. Yeah, check it out. Go, guys. Everyone in the chat, go check these guys out. Mike runs a good show, NLG, Next Level Gaming. They do a podcast every Thursday night. So make sure you check him out.
Yep.
At some point in the next, go ahead.
And if anybody is interested, tonight or before I jumped on here, and tomorrow, we are streaming the Back for Blood beta. A friend of mine got us into the open beta, the early access open beta. We got a chance to play it for about 2 hours tonight, and it's legit. That game is it's the same developer that did Evolve, so I was very skeptical. But if you have ever been a fan of Left 4 Dead, this is going to be a game for you.
The Swami, thanks for the $5 dono, man. Much appreciated, as always, for being here. Ever play Much Pork? No, but if it's a shmup, I'm going to check it out.
Much Pork. Never heard of it. Hold on. I'm Googling that one.
What console is that on?
I don't know. I'm going to find it, though.
I put it into Google and got order pasture raised pork.
Moochie pork. Moochie pork.
That's number 17.
Oh, that sounds more familiar.
Moochie pork. There you go.
All right, cool guys. Everyone, thank you. At some point in the next 17 months, Retro Advisory Board will release another video. So
we'll see if I get out of the dungeon here.
If you get it right.
All right, guys. I'll see you on the next live stream. Everyone, take it easy.
Great video by Relic Gamer about building houses and owning cars. Just
Happy gaming.
All right, guys.